Another week of the Daily Grind. I'm your host, 30 and Still Gaming. And how's everyone doing? Hope everyone had a good weekend. This weekend, guess what I didn't do? I didn't play Dune Awakening. I didn't play Dune Awakening this weekend. I played on Friday, but I didn't play this weekend. This weekend I played Rematch. I played a lot of Rematch. I played about 5 to 6 hours worth of Rematch, the soccer game. Tried it out. It's actually pretty good. I actually quite like it. We might play it tonight. So if anybody wants to play and team up or whatever, we might play that tonight over on the 30 and Still Gaming channel and the Twitch channel this evening. How's everyone doing? Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone had a very good weekend. On today's show, we're going to be talking about Borderlands 4. Lots of content creators got flown out, sponsored, and now they're going to talk good about Borderlands 4. So we're going to watch a couple of those videos. We're going to talk about FBC Firebreak is still struggling on Steam as Remedy promises to make changes. We're going to talk about Splitgate 2 developer 1047 Games holds some layoffs. We're also going to talk about the first images of the Xbox Quest 3S leak online, and we'll have conversations about that as well. If you like what I do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and if you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Appreciate you very much. What's going on, chat? Let me see who's all here. What's going on, Eclipse? Big Mo, Travis, Wonder Rose, Aku, Sarge, Roic. Who am I missing? Anybody? Eclipse, Big Mad Mo, what's going on? Scrolling down. I think that's everybody that said something in chat. All right, so let's get started on the first one, which is FBC Firebreaker. Okay. FBC Firebreaker is still struggling on Steam as Remedy promises to make changes. This is that new 3-player PvE live service game that Remedy came out with. What's going on, Kylo? Okay. That the Steam charts. Well, actually, let's look at the Steam charts, right? Let's look at the Steam charts real fast. Now, again, Steam charts are not the make or break of the game, but we use it as a barometer, as a point of interest. And as of an hour ago, 190 people are playing. In the last 24 hours, 503 people are playing it. An all-time peak is 1,738. Now, I know what people are thinking. They're like, well, 30, the reason it's doing bad on Steam is because it's on Game Pass. And there's a whole bunch of other games that are on Game Pass and also on other platforms that are doing just fine. Okay. Now, maybe that the problem with Firebreaker is that, well, Remedy's known for single-player games, and this is not a single-player game. Maybe because of the landscape of video games, when games come out and they're incomplete, and you're paying for a product, which I think is only, was it $30, $40, if I'm not mistaken, for Firebreaker, okay, which is okay. But at the same time, it's not a complete game. First impressions are everything. We talk about it all the time. If you have problems with your game at launch, unstable, crashes, not fun, adding game modes later, okay, there's good ones, right, like Space Marines 2, but that's a huge 4K, 40K is a huge player base, okay, not just in the video game space, just in board games and just movies and shows and comics, and there's so many things for 40K. Remedy is known for Control and known for their other games, yet Firebreaker comes out, it's not meant for the single-player character, or, players that love their games. And for the people that it's going towards, there's so many other games to play. What would you rather play? This or Left 4 Dead? This or Helldivers? This or any other third-person, or first-person, but 3-player PvE game? Okay? Why should I play your game that's out now, that's not complete, that has a roadmap, and it'll be complete in 7, 10, 12, 18 months down the line? So FBC Firebreaker is still struggling on Steam as Remedy promises to make changes, right? So there you go. They've admitted that there is problems with the game, but don't worry, they'll fix it. The multiplayer Control spin-off open to Tippett responsive Steam, but Remedy has promised many changes to progression, jobs, and tutorials. Okay, FBC Firebreaker, the multiplayer spin-off set in the world of Alan Wake and Control, tanked on Steam at release, but developers Remedy is promising major changes to come. In a new statement from the studio, it promises to overhaul the game's first hours, make progression less grindy. The statement was just released alongside FBC Firebreaker first major patch, which implements on these changes. First of all, you make video games. You didn't know your game was grindy in the first couple hours originally? Makes you wonder why they make it grindy in the first couple hours. Maybe it's to keep retention. That way it gets passed to a certain point. That way you can't make refunds. Just putting it out there. I don't know if that's what they're doing, but it seems like a game plan from most companies. All right. Since FBC Firebreaker launched on June 17th, its ratings have improved from a mostly negative from around 250 reviews to a mixed rating from around 1,100 reviews. But hardly a warm reception. The statement from FBC Firebreaker team claimed that the players who make it to a higher level seem to be enjoying the game more. Well, that's... You want to make an incline of a stuff. You don't want to make it like hit a wall, bash your head in, and then when you get about, 12 hours in, you're like, hey, now it feels good. You want to be like, hey, this feels really good. This feels really good. And then slowly bring it up so it feels good and it's still fun. Okay? So it says the statement from FBC says the team claims that players who play also higher levels seem to be enjoying the game more, but admits that it can be hard for players to get there. Remedy promises to make progression and gear unlocks faster so that the players can also get the good stuff. Although a new patch begins to address some of the issues, the statement reads, while we can improve some features today and in the near term, some others will take longer and require more thinking from us. You mean make a game, sell a game? However, patch version 1.2 does offer multiple concrete improvements. For example, players are no longer required to play matches on lower difficulty levels because playing on higher ones, the store explicitly separates gear and cosmetics. The patch remaps job progression so the players can also use job full power set more quickly. Patch version 1.2 also adds more fair amounts of bugs and fixes in addition to balancing and progression changes. FBC Firebreak has a long journey ahead of it before it can become one of the best co-op games. But Remedy seems to be making good faith effort. Stop it. Stop it. You don't get to have a half-assed game come out and then say, well, we're going to fix it. You put a game out and then make it better. Not make a game that's barely a game but has massive problems and then make a game. You make a game before you release it, not after you release it. Okay? It says if you're looking to try the game again for the first time, take a look at our guide for best... whatever. Okay? I'm so tired of... Look, if you're going to put a game out like this, then put it out for a cheaper price. If your mask price was $40, then put it out for $15. Say it's early access, say it's preview, say it's beta, say anything but, hey, here's our game, it's released, it's complete, and we're going to keep adding stuff to it as we go along because it's a live service game. No, it's a make a game, sell a game. It's always been make a game, sell a game. If you don't want to make a game, then one, don't make a game. But if you're going to make a game, then make sure your game is complete at launch. And if it's not complete at launch, make sure it's at a discounted rate. Now, I know some people are saying, well, it's on Game Pass, so it is cheaper. That's still a $20 game if you're only playing that game on Game Pass, okay? And regardless of if it's on Game Pass, for other avenues out there, it's still a $30, $40 game, and it's still not complete, and it's still broke at launch, and they'll fix it over time. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Are you playing FBC Firebreaker? Is it good? Is it fun? When we saw it last year at the Video Game Awards show, I said, that looks interesting. Kind of reminds me of Back 4 Blood, Left 4 Dead, all that type of stuff. But does it do anything new? Let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know in the live chat. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. What do you think, chat? Are you guys playing Firebreaker? Doesn't seem like anybody on Steam is playing it. It's got, what, double the numbers? Double the numbers of Concord. Congratulations. Congratulations. You have the exact same amount. Or I'm sorry, not the exact same amount. You have double the amount of Concord. Let's go on, Robert Jones. All right, let me scroll back up here. Sarge says, flown out, blown handies, reach arounds, busy weekend for professional reviewers. I think they got flown out a couple of weeks ago. It wasn't this weekend. Got to feel the 110 today and tomorrow. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, it's pretty hot here as well. Let's see. Sarge says 1,700 is like graduation class of a high school. Yeah, I think mine was 1,300. So basically just my high school graduating class is playing the game. Roic says a bad game is just a bad game. It doesn't matter if it's on Game Pass or not. Plenty of other good games were also on Game Pass, and they're doing well. Aku says, I'm expecting Travis to call Marathon Game of the Year now that he has defended the Sony game. Sarge says if Game of the Year also has a category for CG Game of the Year. I heard the word promise like 5 times in the article. Mo says, should know from the Crossfire X campaign, this wouldn't be ready. Yeah, it's just crazy to me that most of these people are just rushing the games out. They know, in my opinion, a lot of these companies know that this game's not going to do well, so they just shove it out the door just to see how many people they can screw over or manipulate, and then be like, oh yeah, we'll fix it later to get that appeal at, oh look, they still care about their game. They're still supporting the game. Sarge says, I'm beyond tired of listening to all these companies talking about absolute bullshit for 24/7. What does FBC stand for? Firebreaker? I'm not sure. Fire Brigade? I have no idea. I have no idea what the FBC stands for. Yeah, Federal Bureau of Control. There you go. Federal Bureau of Control Firebreaker. Yeah, I have no idea. I'm not a Remedy. It takes place in the Remedy world. Or the Control world, or whatever it is. It's going to last longer than Concord or Marathon, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, sure. It only has to do what? It came out on the 17th. Today's what, the 23rd? I mean, it's already there. It's halfway there. It just needs to be one more week, and it already beats Concord. Again, that's the new standard, right, Travis? That's the new standard. Release the game. It just has to be out for 13 days. 13 days means that they can say that they're not the worst game ever. Mind's Eye did it. Mind's Eye is out longer than Concord. They're on the 13th day right now. They've made it. Congratulations, Mind's Eye. You've made it to the 13th day. What's going on, Kraken? Mind's Eye has made it. Aku says, Marathon will last longer because it will have a diehard Destiny crew. Well, I told you, that game's going to come out regardless. They delayed it, but it's coming out. Sony's not abandoning that thing, and that thing will be minimum 2 years because they paid $3.2 billion for Bungie, and you better believe that they're going to keep it out there for as long as possible. It's isn't a live service. It's like saying Back for Blood lasted longer than most games. True. Still sucked. Yeah, Back for Blood, I liked it, didn't love it. Didn't love Back for Blood. I would rather them just make Left 4 Dead 3. But they couldn't because Valve owns the Left 4 Dead brand. The people that made Left 4 Dead, they made their own studio and then made Back for Blood. It just, Back for Blood, they literally took things out of the game and put them back in as like cards, abilities and whatnot. Yeah, it just, At least that was more of a game than this game right now. Right? That was more of a game than this game right now. But we shall see what happens with Firebreaker. I'm sure there's tens of millions of people playing it on Game Pass. Right? Right? So we'll see. In other news, Splitgate. Splitgate's a hot topic. Hot topic. Splitgate 2 developer 1047 game holds layoffs. Who could have seen this coming? Who could have seen that the studio that was charging $140 for a free-to-play game for cosmetics in their game is now just releasing some of their guys? Who would have seen this coming? Okay, Splitgate 2 developer 1047 Games holds layoffs like they're holding tryouts. All right, who wants to get let go? Okay, just weeks after its launch in May, Splitgate 2 developer 1047 Games has announced that it's holding layoffs at the studio. Holding. I love that they're holding layoffs. No, they're doing layoffs, not holding layoffs. In a post for LinkedIn, thanks to Xbox Air for spotting it, the company's official account says that they had parted ways with a small group of valued 1047 game team members. He says, quote, we're still perfecting the Splitgate 2 gameplay experience and the response to community feedback, and that we're redirecting resources to build the best game for our players, they said. Quote, we're sad to see our teammates go, and we're actively working to help them secure new opportunities. Stop it. Stop it. This is just them saying this. This section here is just so it looks better for the public, right? Because obviously, nope, they don't care about you, because if they did, they wouldn't fire you. They wouldn't fire you, right? They're charging $80 for microtransactions in their free-to-play game. So obviously it's doing very well, right? We're still going to fix it for you, the players. Oh, by the way, the people that we let go, the undisclosed amount of people that we let go, we're helping them find jobs right now. Yeah, I'm sure they'll land their feet in some other great job and get fired from that job shortly after. Okay. In addition to the layoffs, it was said that 1047 Games co-founder Ian, this guy, is going to apologize for this. I'm so sorry I let people go. You know, it's just what it is. Right? Have opted not to take salaries as they lock in to deliver the next phase of the project. Oh, that's so nice of them. That's so nice of them to not take salaries. Okay. Are we supposed to be like, oh, well, we didn't want to take salaries, but we still let people go. And don't forget to buy the $80, right? Do you see how this is tossed onto the consumer now? Because if you're a fan, if you're a real fan, you see, Ian's not taking a salary. Nick is not taking a salary. They let a whole group go. They're doing this for free. They're doing this out of the kindness of their heart, okay? The kindness of their heart. So make sure you go out there and buy the $80 microtransactions, because they're doing this for you, right? They fired people for you. They're taking no salary because of you, because they're making the best game that they could possibly do instead of figuring it out before they release the game. He says, thank you for those who've built alongside us. We're sad to say goodbye and would not be here without you. 1047 Games said, to everyone who's playing Splitgate 2, we continue to work hard to deliver more things to we know you'll love. We're committed to building this game for the long haul. That's right. We'll do anything to keep our prices at $80 for microtransactions in our free-to-play game. We will fire every single person. We will take no salary so you guys can buy those microtransactions. Layoffs at 1047 Games come after up and down last few weeks for the studio. Splitgate 2 saw the launch of its Battle Royale mode. Oh, I totally forgot about the Battle Royale mode. We're making the greatest game for you that you didn't ask for, which is the Battle Royale that I had a dream about for 5 years. Okay? So Splitgate 2 saw a launch of the Battle Royale mode that also saw numbers Steam jump for over 25,000 current players. However, Ian got caught up in a bit of controversy when he was make a first-person shooter great again, had on stage in Summer Game Fest and moved the ultimately made a public apology about it. He's made a public apology about everything. The studio didn't make public how many people were let go. Of course not. Insider Gaming has reached out to clarification on the number of people impacted by layoffs. Should they respond to receive, it will be added to the story. Now, I have a question. I'm not saying they did this, but I could see this happening. Just give me a second here. Okay. What if, and I'm going to really emphasize what if a company that didn't disclose the amount of people they let go and come out and say that we had to let these people go? Now, I'm not saying they didn't fire people, but to say that they fired people and then not say how many people they fired, and then say that we, the owners, are also taking a pay cut, we're not taking salaries, but not disclosing the amount of people, did they fire anybody at all, and then say that they're not taking salaries just so people go, these guys are the real deal. They really care about the players. You see what I'm saying? Guys picking up what I'm putting down? Right? Building up that goodwill of, well, yeah, look, we had to let people go. We took salary, no salaries now, but we're still working hard for you, the players, because without you, we have nothing. That's right. That's right. Without you, we have nothing. That should be every business in the world. Without the customers, we have nothing. Okay. So what do you think is happening here with Splitgate? Just one story after another story after another story. Okay. I don't know. I think this is, they abandoned the other game after, I think it was 3.5 to 4 years to shift over to this game, which seems like it's struggling. Okay. Which seems like it's struggling. I'm not sure. Let's go to the Steam charts real fast for this free-to-play game. All right, Splitgate 2. I mean, it's not doing very well. All-time peak was 25,000, and now it's just hemorrhaging players every time. We have 12,000, then we have 12,000, a little less than 12, a little almost just over 11, 9.5, 8, right? Sunday it tips off. So this is on Monday last week. This is on, so the low point on Monday is 2,000. The low point on Monday was 6,000. So they've lost 4,000 from one week to the lowest point to the lowest point. I don't know, man. Let me know what you guys think of Splitgate. Is Splitgate, speaking of Firebreaker, do we think Firebreaker makes it a year? Do we think Splitgate 2 makes it a year? Okay. Let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know in the live chat. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe. And if you like what I do here, check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. Let's go on, Mr. Luke. Sarge says, back for blood. Cards equals get the fuck out of here. Robert Judd says, between Game Pass and Play Plus, FBC Firebreaker may have gotten most of their money back. Sure. They could have gotten their money up front, Jones, between the two. Absolutely. Which then means, do they even care to put more money and time into the game? Because if they made their money back, they can cut their losses and then move on to something else. Are they interviewing for layoffs? Yeah. When they say they're holding layoffs, it's like holding tryouts. You know what I mean? Like, we're holding tryouts. If you guys want to come out for the team, what do they call people in? Hey, do you guys, who wants to get let go? We're holding layoffs. Like, what? Is that the right word? Holding layoffs? I don't think that's... Hold on. Hold on, let's see here. In the business context, holding layoffs generally refers to implementing a layoff or conducting a workforce reduction. That's so nice that they put it that way. Right? Holding tryouts, right? Now we're holding layoffs. Layoffs are involuntary job termination initiated by the employer, usually for reasons unrelated or individual employee performances. I don't know why you would say holding layoffs, though. Just seems kind of weird. Kylo says, you see what I posted in Discord? IGN has an article saying that 100 people are going to be laid off at building a rocket boy. No, I didn't see that, Kylo. Well, let me bring that up. Let me bring that up. Did you put that in general? Yeah, you put that in general? Here we go. Let's talk about that. I love our show because we can do what we're doing here, right? See, Kylo came in, said, "Hey, did you see this? I didn't. Let's talk about it." Okay. So Mind's Eye developer Build a Rocket Boy begins layoffs. Are they holding layoffs? Holding layoffs. Process amidst disastrous launch, studio sources say. No, I thought it was doing great. I thought Mind's Eye was doing fantastic. I thought Mind's Eye was just doing so well. I mean, look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. It's because it's on Game Pass. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's not on Game Pass. Oh, oof. Oof. Okay. We do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Mind's Eye developer Build a Rocket Boy begins layoff process amidst disastrous launch, studio sources say. All right. Build a Rocket Boy has told staff a redundancy process has begun amidst the disastrous launch of Mind's Eye. The cuts could affect over 100 employees, studio sources have told IGN. Well, they told us there's 450 to 500 employees that made Mind's Eye. That's insane. Okay. Baldur's Gate 3 was made by 250 people, I think. Mind's Eye was made by double that. Amazing. Amazing. One person who asked to remain anonymous in order to protect the career told IGN there's no word yet on exactly how many staff are affected, but the standard 45-day consultation process started, or I can't read. The process started today, June 23rd, which according to UK law is triggered when an employer processes 100 or more redundancies within the 90-day period. IGN understands that Build a Rocket Boy currently has around 300 UK employees with around 200 abroad. So 300 over there, 200 abroad. IGN has asked Rocket Boy for comment. Staff now faces a wait to find out whether or not they'll be affected. Meanwhile, there's a serious question whether Build a Rocket Boy will also be able to fulfill its post-launch roadmap. You know what? I hope every single one of you guys that bought this game for full price, I hope you enjoy it. I really do. I hope you do. Because this thing won't be here. The studio will be closed down by next year. Okay. Last week, Build a Rocket Boy said it was heartbroken over the issues players had faced with the recently released game and promised to issue a series of patches to fix the significant performance problems. You could just take the title out, right? Like, insert game here, right? Take out Mind's Eye. Developer does layoffs. Insert studio here, okay? I mean, this is Monday, and we're already talking about two different studios that came out within the last 2 weeks, okay, doing layoffs at their company. Amazing. Okay. All while Mind's Eye troubled launch saw the developers cancel sponsored streams and report to players security refunds, which also normally stubborn Sony. Okay. On Steam, which also does not paint a whole picture of Mind's Eye current popularity. I'm sorry. Which does not paint the whole picture of Mind's Eye current popularity. Is there a popularity of Mind's Eye? The game hit a peak concurrent player of 3,302 on launch, but had a 24-hour peak of just 130 players at the time of the article's publication. 52 people were also playing the game on Steam, which mostly negative review rating. Mind's Eye was also initially a part of Everywhere, the Roblox for adults game creation platform led by former Grand Theft Auto chief Leslie Benson. Built a Rocket Boy based in Edinburgh, Scotland, eventually switched to focus on Mind's Eye and the story-driven action-adventure game, but has so far failed to do the business for the company. In an email to staff reviewed by IGN, co-CEO Mark insisted that the studio remained committed to Mind's Eye, but pointed to shift from an intense development of launch phase to essential post-launch support phase. Yeah, so there you go. Yet another game, right? Let's just insert something here, right? Splitgate developer 1047 begins layoff process amidst disastrous launch, sources say, right? Concord developer, right? Layoff process amidst disastrous launch studio. Dragon Age Origin BioWare begins layoff process, right? You could insert just, I bet you this is a template. This is just a template from IGN. They could just insert here. Roic says they're helping them get jobs on COD. Oh, Splitgate? Yeah. Wouldn't that be funny? Then why let people go if you're not getting paid? Why let people go if they're not getting paid? I think the reason they come out vocally with this is to say, look, we're making a great game. We're down on our luck. We have to lose some people. We're not going to take a salary to make up for that, and we're making the best game for you. And I think that's why they're doing it, to get into good graces. Right? It's the same people that use like sad puppy, puppy videos to get you to, get money, out of you. You don't want a puppy to die, do you? You don't want a puppy to die. You're a terrible person if you want a puppy to die, right? You don't know if there's an actual real puppy or not, but you don't want to take that chance, do you? That's what the type of stuff this is. Sarge says, so the two options in their mind is no salaries or layoffs everyone. There are no other answers. Well, no, they're not getting paid. The two CEOs are not taking a salary, and they also let people go. Krebsy says, what's going on, Krebsy? It says Splitgate 2 will be quicker, die quicker because of PvP. Kyle says they just split gating their employees. It's in the name. Robert Jones says a year online or a year of updates. Right, pick your poison. Ron Slusher says Splitgate 2 is a great game. I think it survives like the finals and Paladins. For how long, Ron? 2 years? Do you think they move on from Splitgate 2 faster than Splitgate 1? That's what I'll ask. Splitgate 1 was around for 4 years. Do you think Splitgate 2 lasts as long as 4 years as well? Or do you think it lasts shorter? Roic says, are they holding their jobs for ransom by the microtransactions, or they're gone? I don't know. I mean, I don't play the game, but I would never play that game because of the absurd amount of money that they're asking for microtransactions. And I know people are like, well, it's just optional. But that's there. That's me. I only answer to me. Robert Jones says, I think Splitgate get 1 to 2 years of updates and stays online for 5 years plus. Oh, there's no way. No way, Jones. Is Splitgate 1 still up? Can you still play Splitgate 1 right now? Do they still support Splitgate 1? Or did they stop supporting it? What's going on, Water? Water says, but Mind's Eye was supposed to last a decade, right? A decade. Days. They were talking about a decade of days. Sarge says, Mind's Eye is like the game in the Twilight Zone. What the fuck is happening? Water Bear says only a patch that would fix Mind's Eye would be a new game. Sarge says Rocket Boy, I think he says Rocket Boy doesn't have employees. They have contractors. Travis says 30. I DM'd you the next game that's going to do this. All right, let me look at what game you think is going to do this next. Code Violet extended gameplay. All right, maybe we'll look at that a little bit later. I got other stories to go through, and then I'll look at that because that's a video. Jack says, I hate when people lose their jobs over dumb decisions, but they also really should have just delayed it and wasn't ready. That's right, Jax. That's my whole point. That's my whole point with all of these things. That all of these games come out and they're broke, buggy, unfinished, and all they had to do was make a game, sell a game, right? And I'm okay if games come out and they're not ready like Splitgate, or they're not ready like Firebreak, right? I'm okay with games like that, right? I'm okay doing early access, beta, preview, anything that they put in front of it to say, hey, this is not a complete product and there's going to be problems with it and it's at a discounted rate. But that's not what they do. They take a full-fledged product, and instead of charging full price like for Firebreaker or for Splitgate, right? Splitgate's free. Firebreaker's like $30 or $40, okay? But the game is still broke, but it's still released. It's still a full release. All they had to do was go Firebreaker, preview program, early access, right? Splitgate, beta, right? Help us make the game better. And there's a group of people that will get behind that and go, I like supporting games like this. But when you come out as a full-fledged game and then charge $140 for microtransactions in Splitgate's choice, and then say, oh, we're slashing that by 45%, even though Ian said 50%, okay? That's bad. That looks bad. The optics look bad. Same with Firebreaker. You can still play Anthem right now, Ron. Still can play it. Kevin says another game that has popular people turning on it is Monster Hunter Wilds. Reviews are turning negative with the lack of updates, and Wilds has less players than World. Didn't that game come out? Now, obviously, I didn't buy it. I played it, and when I played the beta, I was like, I'm good. I don't need it. Right? Didn't it come out in bad state as well, but people just kind of ignored it? What's going on, Altern? They said they should have never stopped supporting Splitgate 1. They should have built on what it was, and which was a popular, instead of going on directly into Splitgate 2. That's because they were chasing the money. They were chasing the money. This is going to be a very expensive life lesson for Mr. Ian over here. He's learning on the job, which is fine. I'm not making fun of him in any way, shape, or form, right? They went from his words himself. They were in a college dorm room. They came up with a thing because they were passionate fans. They wanted to bring Call of Duty back. Then they saw how much money they could make, right? Probably changed his life, okay? And then now he's took $100 million, went to go make Splitgate 2, and now it's a lot harder. He's on-the-job training. It's still online. Patches for like 2 years or more. Splitgate 1 came out in what? Okay, let me look this up. Okay, Splitgate came out in 2019. Okay, 2019. Let's see. Let's go to their wiki. Let's go to their wiki here. Splitgate, known during development under the working title of Splitgate Arena Warfare, originally known for Wormhole Wars. Free-to-play multiplayer first-person shooter game developed by publisher 1047 Games, was released in early access. Keyword there, early access, May 24th of 2019 for Linux, Microsoft Windows, on Steam, and on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. On July 27th, 2021, a PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series XS version came in in 2022. Okay, so all those other platforms came out in 2021, still early access. PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S version came out in 2022. On August 25th, 2021, developer announced the game would stay in beta indefinitely. Okay, at the same time, released Season 0. The game evolves around Halo-inspired sci-fi combat and battle arenas, where players can also create wormhole portals, and also 2 portals on the map, and been compared to those of Portal series, fire weapons, and travel through those portals. Okay, so they never released Splitgate 1. Stayed in beta the entire time. Okay, a sequel, Splitgate 2, was released just 4 years later. Okay, to the day almost 4 years later. The game was also developed in Nevada based on 1047 Games. Its founder, Ian and Nicholas, started working on the game as a school project while they were also attending Stanford University, studying computer science. Ian was inspired by Portal and Portal 2 and believed the mechanics of it could translate into other video game genres. They worked on the game without funding for 6 months and then released a demo for the users testing, which became unexpectedly popular as the game drew 600,000 downloads in the first month, of release. And also the game philosophy was described as similar to Fortnite and Rocket League, in which the game is easy to learn but difficult to master. The game then was released free-to-play, title on Steam of May of 2024, 2019, 1047, continued to work on the game post-release, which never released, okay? And they raised a total of $10 million for the project by May of 2021 from investors. In June of 2021, the company announced that the game would become a PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series XS cross-platform support. And while Splitgate struggled to maintain a viable player base after the initial early access launch in 2019, the game saw a significant surge of players when the game beta launched in early July of 2021, causing it to surpass 600,000 downloads in the first week. Its sudden popularity, unexpected by the developers, led to the game going offline several times to fix server issues. This led to a postponement of this early departure from early access, while also developers attempting to increase the server capability to handle well over 100,000 concurrent players. Despite attempts of increasing server capability, a queue system was implemented and limited the number of players logging onto the game. Developers posted updates, server status on the Twitter accounts until the systems was removed in August of 2021. Okay. So they still support it here. It says Season 1, which is indefinitely. They had Season 0, Season 1, January 27, 2022. Okay. Let's see. It says the second season of Splitgate added a highly anticipated map creator beta, brought new fidelity changes to the map, as well as a new simulation map called Hotel. It's also included in the new game modes, Evolution, Flag Capture, and the new Battle Pass with skins and other game modes. All right, well, let me see something here. Let me see something. Is it not going to... Okay. Splitgate. Splitgate 1. So right now, Splitgate 1 has 104, which is, I think, more than Mind's Eye. 67,000. So just based off of what Splitgate 1 was compared to Splitgate 2, they've basically lost, right? Splitgate 1 had 67 concurrent peak, all-time peak. And this one had 25,000 all-time peak. They lost 2/3 of their audience on Steam from this game. Yeah, this game's done. Right? More people liked your original game better than this game. Just my opinion. Waterbear says, Cordo Odyssey is the next Mind's Eye, especially if they release it in the current state of the game is terrible. Played it in the closed beta test, played 3 hours, and I wish I could have those back. Ooh, really? Eclipse says, yeah, because you supposed to continue to update Monster Hunter. The whole point was to say that they were also going to deserve negative reviews. Sarge says, too many games, first impressions matter. Not enough time to waste half-baked games, your finished product, or your next. That's exactly right. First impressions are everything. Let me see what else they got here. Clip says, but you see the world's had also types of events all the time. There's also not doing it with also the wilds and also why people are mad. Don't you talk about that, my game of the year. Yeah. Look, man, I know it sounds like I'm angry all the time and I yell at these companies, but all I want is a game that's released. Doesn't mean I'm buying your game, right? Doesn't mean I'm going to be buying your game, right? People buy different games all the time. All I'm asking for is make a game, sell a game, right? Don't make an idea of a game and then make that idea happen over the next 6 years, okay? Like, make a game, work first, make your stuff first, then sell the product. Not, you know what? I have an idea for a game. I think we're gonna dip our toe in the water first. We're going to get people excited, making a battle royale game. It's better than any other battle royale game. It's going to have an extraction in it. It's going to be fast-paced. It's going to have some portals in it. And then, like, nothing. It's like, okay, cool. Why does your game stick out? We want to be better than Call of Duty, but then have Call of Duty microtransactions in the game. Right? Firebreaker. They're like, hey, you know what? We're making single-player games. People really like them. We have a small audience. Let's make a non-single-player game. Let's make it like Back 4 Blood. But instead of shooting zombies, we'll shoot Post-it notes that are guys that are taking over in the office that look like zombies. And we'll shoot those guys instead. And then we'll wear these things. We'll make it fun. We'll make it different. But it's not different. Right? I was watching gameplay of it. Right? I was watching gameplay of it. And a lot of people are just shooting Post-it notes and stuff. Like, I'm confused. Okay, now I want to switch pace. I want to change gears, right? Because I want to talk about a game we're in number 4, which is like number 6, really, because there's been Borderlands 2, pre-sequel, Borderlands 3, Tiny Tina's Wonderland, right? Like we have multiple games of Gearbox, right? Multiple DLCs, different types of genres. We have Borderlands, okay? Now, the next thing I want to talk about is Borderlands because half of all Steam users won't be able to play Borderlands 4. Now, this is a risky move here, considering the biggest market out there is PC players. Okay, now half of the Steam users won't be able to play Borderlands 4. Okay? If you guys like what I do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning to noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Okay? The reason Borderlands 1 and 2 actually became popular is because of PC users. The content creators that played it over and over and over and over and over, and that was over on PC side. Okay? Sure, there's a population of Borderlands people that play it, but to remember when Borderlands 3 came out and it had exclusive on Epic, and people were like, fuck you, Gearbox, because you're not putting it on Steam. Remember those days? I remember those days. Pepperidge Farm remembers those days. And one of the reasons that Borderlands 3 failed, okay, in the public was because they had a 6-month exclusive on Epic, and the people that were playing on PC already were like, nah, I don't want to play it on Epic. I'll wait for it to come on Steam. Okay? So Borderlands 4 has had an interesting marketing cycle, with the release date being moved and Gearbox and Randy Pitchford saying that the real fans would spend $80 on it, even though the game was later revealed to cost $70. Now, the game recently released Nintendo Switch 2 may make you think that Borderlands 4's system requirements are a non-factor for most modern gaming PCs, but they're heftier than you might expect, as highlighted by Odd Onion 6776. The Great Onion. I don't even know who that is. I'm just messing around. In a recent Reddit thread, Borderlands 4 minimum requirements exclude half of all Steam users. The data comes in courtesy of Steam's regular hardware survey. Participations in the survey are optional, and Steam doesn't release the exact number of participants. But imagine that the platform prolific of popular Steam would easily reach a minimum number of participants for the survey to be viable. Borderlands 4 requires a 8-core processor or better. According to a survey, 50.2% of Steam users have CPUs within 6 or fewer cores. The minimum required to play Borderlands 4 includes a CPU equal to or better than AMD Ryzen 2700X or Intel Core i7-9700 processor, both of which are 8-core CPUs. The minimum requirements allow the player to play Borderlands 4 at 60 frames per second in 1080p resolution. Not meeting the minimum requirements doesn't necessarily mean you can't get Borderlands 4 working on a performance issue, or likely that it also play the game with a build below the requirements. It says, my newest GPU dragged my dying CPU across the finish line for several years, so someone build could compensate in others depending on the hardware. Still, players are surprised by how demanding Borderlands 4 is, especially since this series has always been etched in photorealism in favor of stylish visuals. The heavier CPU requirements may result in addition of seamless transitions to Borderlands 4, i.e., they won't be loading screens between the open-world zones, possibly increasing the stress on your CPU. This could also raise the question on how Gearbox is getting the game to work on the Switch 2, which is more powerful console than usual for Nintendo, but still doesn't compete with the PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X. And their speculation is that the Switch 2 version will be downgrade in some ways, but they also just conjecture into other game releases. Well, I think they're trying to just go for the people, sorry to say this, but people that are Switch users, that they're going to buy the stuff because they can play it on their Switch now. So they're going to get full price for that game for a shittier version on that console. So congratulations to you guys over on Switch Land, buying more expensive games for shittier price for shittier quality. Borderlands 4 released on September 12th, 2025 for Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch 2, and PC. I mean, it's a bold move to come out with a processing thing that's half of the population. Again, we don't know the actual number of people that took the actual thing, but it's enough to be able to say that half the people, I don't know if it's like a minimum of 3,000, 10,000, I don't know, okay? But it does seem a little weird that they would do it that way, right? Now, from that, I want to go to Legacy Gaming. Okay, Legacy Gaming, there's about a 12-minute video here. They got flown out by lots of other people. I don't know if they got flown out. I'm saying that because I saw one video say they got flown out. I don't know if they got flown out, but because I haven't watched the video yet. So we're going to watch this, okay? We played Borderlands 4, the new Vault Hunters, weapons, and open world gameplay. So let's hear what they have to say about the game. It could be good, could be bad, but let's see. So let's listen to this.
Thanks to 2K for sponsoring this video.
Well, there goes that. There goes that. That's sponsored video. Well, 2K is not sponsoring this video. We're watching someone that's sponsored. So here we go.
Borderlands 4 is only a few months away, and thanks to 2K, we had the chance to go hands-on ahead of its release at a secret event with some massive names in the Borderlands space. We sent our team member Nas out to California to check everything out and report back, and surprisingly, the amount of time he had to play flew by, with only 90 minutes to check out a portion of the open world and roughly 30 minutes to tackle a vault encounter.
Okay. Do you see how the marketing is? I understand marketing is marketing, okay? But back in the day, they would just market the game by showing a commercial of gameplay, right? You would just, like, don't listen to Legacy for a second.
All the creators
you would just see
there,
video like
ourselves
this,
included,
with music playing, and it would just be an advertisement of the thing. The way this game is structured, they know that they're trying to, who they're going for, right? Who they're trying to purpose. They're like, hey, look at us. We're being very transparent. We're being very open. Here's our game. We're letting people play it. We're letting people play our game. We're also sponsoring all these people that played our game. So they're going to tell you that they can say anything they want to say, good or bad, which is true. But remember, they're sponsoring the video. Right? They're sponsoring the video. So take it what you want. Okay? Me personally, I can't listen to somebody that says they're sponsored and then take all the negative that they do. Even if they say some negative stuff, I'm like, you're bought and paid for. You're bought and paid for by Access Media. You're bought and paid for because they either flew you out, put you up in a hotel, gave you food, gave you a swag bag. They gave you something. That's just me, though.
Agreed to share footage with each other so that you, the viewer, could get as clear a picture as possible of the game so far. My name is Kodiak, this is Legacy Gaming, and this is our hands-on preview for Borderlands 4.
The difference there, Eclipse, is I saw someone sponsored by Mind's Eye. You want to know what they said about it? First of all, Mind's Eye is a brand new company, and let's just say that I got sponsored by Mind's Eye, and I said negative. I would look at that and go, this company's not going anywhere, and I don't give a shit if they never sponsor me again. A little different when it's Borderlands 4, Gearbox, 2K, one of the biggest corporations out there, to give me access to one of the bigger games. And if I'm a content creator, I'm not going to bite the hand that fed me for a game like this compared to Mind's Eye. So there's that.
Let me start by saying this. I believe Borderlands 4 will be the biggest game in the series, and that's largely due to the shift to the more open world style of game. If we look back to previous entries in the
they're turning it into Destiny, right? Borderlands 4 is open world Destiny type of maps.
Borderlands franchise, the worlds could largely be considered connected canyons of content. What I mean by that is zones were largely linear in nature with a bunch of optional side content as you progress through that zone. There were some things that crossed back and forth between zones, but by and large, it was relatively...
Right, Eclipse. If Skill Up does one of these, and I don't know if he does, I'll look it up in a second. If he does one of these, okay, then he says they offered to fly us out, we didn't accept it, we went to the event. You know what I mean? Then I can believe that what Skill Up is saying as his review is not bought and paid for.
Easy to just target down content in past games as you came across it. Borderlands 4 completely flips that dynamic, and it's something we think players are going to have to adjust for, especially if they're used to a more linear type of video game. Personally, open world is where we thrive, making sense of that chaos and charting a path through a game with a ton of optionality. During the hour and a half we had in a section of the open world, maybe 2 or 3 other creators actually finished a quest to completion. There were tons of side activities, secrets, mini-bosses, and more that would constantly give players that, ooh, piece of candy effect. That's because pretty much everything, even content way above your character's level, is accessible to you. I think hardcore Borderlands fans will love this, but for more casual players, it's going to take some getting used to, but we do think it'll benefit the game in the long run. You also have to factor in the new gliding, grapple, and climbing mechanics, which absolutely elevate the game across multiple fronts, including quest design, combat encounters, and secret hunting. There was this entire quest where you had to fight off waves of enemies while positioning solar panels with your grapple that would redirect the laser and allow you to breach the base of a massive tower. You'd then have to parkour your way up the external parts of the tower using the grapple, glide, and climbing mechanics to adjust platforms and work your way up. Stuff like that just wasn't a thing in previous Borderlands games, and the vertical...
That to me, for me again, is not like make or break, right? I'm like, oh, great. I can do more vertical stuff in this. As long as they put stuff in places, like in Borderlands 2 when we played it, there was stuff that was up high that you had to explode or get, and you had to figure ways to get up there. So I wasn't gliding, but I had to jump up to certain things and try to figure it out. I wasn't like, oh man, this is mind-blowing, right? Now that they added a glide factor, okay.
The vertical nature of this single quest alone really made the game feel more intricate. Hopefully there...
Eclipse, you can't talk to Travis. Travis just says shit. So you're just arguing with... You're basically, you might as well just argue with your dog.
There are loads of these types of quests throughout the game that rely on clever manipulation of your available mechanics to interact with the strange and often zany world Gearbox has created. During our time with the game, we were able to check out 2 different Vault Hunters, Vex the Dark Siren, who's this kind of nuker summoner-based character, and Rafa, the Exo Soldier who can lean heavy into a melee, ranged, or hybrid-focused playstyle, using all sorts of digistructs his experimental exosuit can create. We had level 5 versions of each character for the open world.
All right, so it's just the normal skill tree, but the skill tree looks like it converges to the bottom 3. So if you took this and put it all the way up, that's the old version. Now it seems like the top version, then it splits into the medium, and then you get to decide where you would like to go instead of picking in the dedicated branch
portion of the preview so that we could pick our specialization and level up over that hour and a half. But we also had access to level 20 versions of each character for the Vault preview later on, and these were already pre-built for us, which allowed us to see 2 of the specializations in a much more progressed state. Thankfully, because everyone agreed to share their footage, we got a taste for nearly every specialization's abilities at a base level, and let me just say, point blank, the Exo Soldier's paths feel pretty cool, especially the Arc Knives and the Peacebreaker.
I haven't seen someone use the grapple hook yet like that, Altern. I think in one of the other videos that we watched, maybe like 3 weeks ago, they used the grapple to shoot themselves up in the air and then shoot from the air. But I don't remember them grabbing somebody and pulling them towards them. I could be wrong.
Cannon's paths. On one hand, you have an ability that forces a third-person perspective, so you can go absolutely ham on enemies with these giant energy blades that mark targets with every attack, compounding that damage for every mark an enemy already has. Even at low levels, these things can dish out some really solid damage and seem like a perfect setup for a super fun melee-based build. On the other hand, the Peacebreaker cannons...
The melee looks kind of iffy. Right, look at that again. Right, let's watch the melee.
Mark targets with every attack, compounding that damage.
The melee has never really felt good in Borderlands.
For every mark an enemy already has. Even at low levels, these things can dish out some really solid damage and seem like a perfect setup for a super fun melee-based build. On the other hand, the Peacebreaker cannons grant you autonomous shoulder-mounted kinetic cannons that pepper your target while still allowing you to use regular guns, and there are even nodes to give you infinite ammo while these are active. This clearly sets up the Exo Soldier as not only a contender for a ranged DPS monster, but one who could easily turn any kind of weapon OP. Vex, as expected, has a much different playstyle, and if you usually enjoy pet or summon-based builds, then you'll want to check her out. Her Phase Familiar specialization allows her to summon her Spectral Cat Trouble, who can specialize tanky, taunting enemies, dishing out critical hits, and spawning badass illusions of itself, or as a buffer, enhancing Vex in numerous ways.
Yeah, I have yet to see anyone use any kind of the new grapple in the game where they use it as an offensive... I mean, hell, in Dune Awakening, I could take the claw and hit somebody and stun them.
While primarily staying out of combat. The other specialization everyone played around with was Dead Ringer, which allows Vex to spawn either a Spectre or a Reaper phase clone. These will lose health every second they're active, but match the damage type of whatever damage Vex is attuned to when they're spawned in. The Reaper minion fights in melee range, but also taunts enemies, while the Spectre minion stays where it's spawned and deals gun damage. Overall, it was really cool.
Here's the thing I hope they kind of fixed, because in Borderlands 3, I had a mech suit that I never fucking used, right? Literally, the whole character is based on the mech and how powerful I can make the mech. And I found guns in the game that were so powerful that I never, ever had to even use the mech ever. Ever. It didn't matter where I put my points in the skill tree. It didn't matter because the gun I found. Now, again, I know that's very substantial or very niche, I should say, for my situation. But again, you made the game, and yet for some strange reason, I never had to use half of the character. The character is literally built around the mech, and I never had to use the mech because the guns I had were way more powerful than anything my mech did.
Cool to see how all of the different creators' playstyles differed across the two available characters, and proves that Borderlands 4 will still retain that build flexibility most players have come to enjoy from this series. We did also take a peek at the customization options for the Vault Hunters, since a lot of mission rewards some really unique cosmetics. In conjunction with the ability to die and change up your...
I don't know if I like the new UI.
Overall patterns on your Vault Hunters, you can definitely turn them into characters you visually vibe with.
Yeah, the melee felt okay in Wonderlands, Altern, but it still just felt off in a Borderlands game where it was all about the guns, you know?
More, which I think is great if you aren't a fan of the overall initial look of these characters. Vex and Rafa were cool, and there's a lot of room to experiment once you expand their skills. But if there's one thing we know about Borderlands, it's that gunplay is king.
Hold on a second. Let me rewind that.
There's a lot of room to experiment once you expand their skills. But if there's one thing we know about Borderlands, it's that gunplay is king.
We're going to make melee builds, but gunplay is king. There's always been melee in the game, but it's never felt great.
During the open world portion of the game, because we were so under-leveled, we didn't really get to go peak Borderlands crazy. That is, until we swapped over to our level 20 pre-made characters and tackled some primordial vault runs. And this is where things started to feel familiar, but also completely unique at the same time. Borderlands 4 features 8 different weapon manufacturers, 5 of which are returning from previous games, including Tediore and their quirky toss-to-reload feature, Malawan with their elemental specializations, Jacobs and their ability to shoot as fast and
Hold on a second.
with their elemental specializations, Jacobs and their ability to shoot as fast and as precise as you can pull the trigger, Vladoff with their high fire rate and even larger magazine
I feel like the gun. One more time. I feel like the gun is not.
elemental specializations, Jacobs and their ability to
I feel like there's something off about the gun.
shoot as fast and as precise as you can pull the trigger, Vladoff with their high fire rate and even larger magazine capacity, and Torg, the masters of heavy-duty explosive weaponry. The 3 new manufacturers, all of which were eventually experienced by at least 1 or 2 creators in the room, Daedalus, which can incorporate multiple ammo types, Ripper, with their guns that ramp up to fully automatic, and Order, weapons that focus on precision and burst fire. The vault proved to be a much more challenging location, as it should, and really showed how Borderlands 4 is trying to push the difficulty and replayability curve. We also got a taste of Inceptus, the primordial guardian of this specific primordial vault, and let me tell you, this
There is, right, Al Dente? There's a slight delay of the recoil of the gun when the gun shoots. Yeah, it's just something off about it. I don't know if that was it, but I'm like looking at it going, there's something off about it.
was a genuinely good boss fight. There were a whole host of attacks to avoid, mechanics to trigger in order to deal significant damage to the boss, and even this
Okay, so she's
Attacks to
actually
avoid.
using.
mechanics to
Is that
trigger in
the
order to
cable right there?
deal significant damage to the boss, and even this cool hanging pod mechanic where we had to utilize our grapple to avoid an acid-covered floor.
Yeah,
the
it is.
kicker
Okay.
these would rapidly lower after grappling to them, so you'd have to dance between gliding and re-grappling to work your way around the arena, avoiding damage, all while dealing damage to the boss in the process. If all the bosses in the game show this level of detail and intricacy, alongside the ability to easily respawn and fight them again for dedicated loot drops, we potentially have one of the most enjoyable farming loops in a Borderlands
Yeah, that boss
title
fight
to
mechanic seems
date.
pretty cool.
I think it's also important to recognize that while we were progressing through the available content, the overall narrative and dialogue felt so much better than Borderlands 3.
That looks like
The overall
Thanos. That looks like Thanos.
narrative and dialogue felt so much better than Borderlands 3. The few jokes we heard landed cleaner, dialogue is significantly less cringy and pop culture focused, and the premise of the people of this world rebelling against their tyrant overlords just feels like a more easy to digest fantasy story that has room to grow. Where the game does take another design shift is in the use of a compass over a minimap, alongside with Echo 4, a guide bot and a first for the Borderlands franchise. A missing minimap was something everyone at the event was almost
So I have a question. I have yet in 9 minutes and 34 seconds, I haven't heard one negative thing about Borderlands.
unanimously wanting to see added back into the game, given its historical use and importance throughout the previous titles. Don't get me wrong, the compass was great at relaying important information such as quest objectives, markers, and more, but once you're conditioned to something so essential, it's hard to take that away. However, the main reason for the
The compass is the bad part.
feedback is because a lot of encounters take advantage of the game's newfound verticality thanks to the enhanced movement systems. And in some instances, you could have dozens of enemies at varying heights, and often all in the same direction. This would cause those red dots denoting enemies on your compass to essentially clump up into a big blob of red that results in unclear information to the player. It's something that seems so small in the grand scheme of things, but if it was a toggleable feature they could add into the game given the amount of time still remaining before the September release, we could see that going a long way with the community overall. Menus across the board have also been significantly modernized. Hardcore Borderlands fans might find the layout strikingly different from what they're used to, but honestly, we really enjoyed the sleek new design. It's all about the
I don't like the new design at all, but that's just me. I'm not going to knock off points off a thing because I don't like it. I just don't like the design.
information hierarchy, and this is the best it's ever been. There was really only one anomaly, and that was with the weapons panels. The manufacturer of the gun, an important bit of information to know at a glance, and even more important now given the new parts system, just doesn't feel prominent enough. We would love to see it get a more stylized treatment towards the top of the frame, so it's one of the first things you see. Again, these are small potatoes, and the UI could change a dozen more times before launch, but it's worth mentioning as these things do factor in to a player's experience. After just a couple hours with the game, even though most of us were completely overwhelmed with how much was thrown at us and how quickly it all happened.
Well, first of all, when you get flown out and put up and you're at an event with a whole bunch of other people, yeah, you're a little giddy and your experiences, you're like, oh my God, this is so awesome, right? You ever go to a convention and stuff like that? But you feel really special here because you're there because they wanted you there. Do you know what I mean? So
we did start to see glimpses of Borderlands 4's evolution. How far will that go? We hope really far, but it's still too early to say with such little time actually spent with the full breadth of content the game has to offer. I will say, and I think this matters, Borderlands 4 does feel more like Borderlands 2 more than anything else Gearbox has created since then. To be clear, that is a great sign. Once again, thank you to 2K for sponsoring this video. Friends, we hope you enjoyed this special preview of Borderlands 4, and we'll have much more coming your
pre-order now. Link in the description.
way ahead of the game's September 12th release date. As always, drop us a like and remember to subscribe so you never miss a new video. My name is Kodiak, and from everyone here at Legacy Gaming, thanks for watching, and play on.
All right. Real quick, I got to go make breakfast for my son real fast, so give me like 4 minutes, 5 minutes. I'll be right back, all right? I'll put some music on for you guys. I'll put a little short break, and I'll be back. And then we're going to watch another video. We're going to watch another video of Borderlands, so I'll be right back.
Hit the scene, all the gamers hyped is the next big thing. AAA title or a quirky indie gem, what's the verdict? Oh, here we go again. Graphics are stunning but the story's a sin. Gameplay solid but it's just not fresh within. No matter how it shines or where it might land, IGN's got a score that we all understand. Graphics are stunning but the story's a sin. Gameplay solid but it's just not fresh within. No matter how it shines or where it might land, IGN's got a score that we all understand. 7 out of 10 is the favorite groove. No matter the game, that's our go-to move. Is it good? Is it bad? We'll never really know. 7 out of 10, it's the same old show. A sequel drops, it's polished and refined. Fans say it's great, but they won't change their mind. Too much water they cry or lacks innovation. 7's their home base, their default station. Best game ever or just okay, doesn't really matter, they'll grade it the same way. From space epics to farming sims, that 7's lurking, ready to begin. 7 out of 10 is the favorite groove. No matter the game, that's their go-to move. Is it good? Is it bad? We'll never really know. 7 out of 10, it's the same old show. What if it's a masterpiece? What if it's a flop? 7's like their GPS, they just won't stop. We laugh, we joke, but deep down we wait. Will our IGN surprise us or is 7 our fate? Or is 7 our fate? Or is 7 our fate? 7 out of 10, it's a classic too. From dawn till dusk, morning till the moon. It's a meme that won't die.
was feeling fine. Booted up my PlayStation, about to get online. Then I saw the error like a ghost in the night. PSN was down, man, this ain't right. Check my phone, Twitter's on fire. Sony says don't worry, we're working on the wires. 20 hours later, what do we get? 5 free days, man, that's some bullshit. Oh no, Sony got hacked again. Servers are down and they don't know when. Every time we trust, they break it again. Maybe I should just switch to LAN. Oh no, Sony got hacked again. Servers are down and they don't know when. Every time we trust, they break it again. Maybe I should just switch to LAN. Remember, oh wait, that was kinda whack. Fake antivirus trying to steal my stack. Then 11 came, oh what a thrill. 77 million lost their bills. Next month, 25 mil more. Sony just said, oops, check the door. Christmas 14 down once again. Hope you didn't plan to play with friends. Oh no, Sony got hacked again. Another bad week, just tell me when. If there's a firewall, it's made of tin. Maybe I should just plug out and in. 2017, socials crashed. 2023, more data stashed. Every damn year the cycle repeats. Sony servers taste like a hacker's feast. Oh Sony, why can't you learn? We just want a game, but we crash and burn. Password stolen, credit strained. Every time we sign in, we feel the pain. Next month, next year, who can say? Sony servers crash every day. If you're online, don't hold your breath. Just wait for another hack. Who's next?
All right, sorry about that. Appreciate it. If you like any of the songs, we have a couple of those songs over on our other channel, 30 and Still Jamming. You can check those out. All right, let's watch the other video. Let me bring up the other video. Did you guys say Luke Smith did one? Not Luke Smith. Luke Stevens. Luke Smith worked for Bungie.
So I just got the chance to play.
All right. I was like, it's like Luke Smith. Like Luke Stevens. All right. So let's watch this. This is another person that got to play it early. So let's listen to them.
So I just got the chance to play about 3 hours of Borderlands 4 at the 2K
He got 3 hours. The other guy got 90 minutes. Well, he got double.
offices in California, and I have some thoughts. Full transparency, 2K flew me out to their studio to play the game in person on a PC instead of doing like a remote thing, and as a result they're sponsoring this video. But I did clarify with them I'm allowed to say whatever I want to say, positive or negative, and they agreed to that, which is always reassuring that a developer
Yeah, sure. They invited you and 400 other people, so
publisher is willing to like take that risk for me to say something either positive or negative if I didn't like it. And it shows that they're confident in the product that they have here. And I think that's a really good thing. And it's backed up by my experience with the game, because what I think they have here is something pretty cool. It's shaping up quite nicely, at least based on what I played, and I'm going to tell you about it in this video. Like I said, we got to play about 3 hours of the game at their offices in California. I played off of PC, and I was playing on mouse and keyboard, as you'll see in my gameplay footage. They also specified that the version of the game we were playing was an older build from months prior. So while I was playing in mid-May, they said this was months older than that, and that tons of improvements had already been made.
well, of course. I mean, let's just take the early access thing out of it, right? I played said game. I played No Man's Skies 8 years later, and immaculately, it's a much better game today than it was 8 years ago. So obviously, if you're building a build, you would hope your build is better than the build from 6 months ago. Otherwise, what are you doing?
Which is cool, because the version I played was pretty good. So I was like, oh, it's better than this. Cool. I like that. So I want to clarify that, you know, things are only going to get better and better. And even so, what I played, I thought was pretty solid, especially for this point in development. So I want to give them credit for that. It seems like they're making really good progress. The portion of the game I'm allowed to
Well, they all played on PC, Sarge, because that's the best experience that you can get, right? And two, there have to be really beefy PCs, because we just read the story that said it has to be a higher end PC. Otherwise, it's not going to do good.
share with you today is called the Fade Fields. I did also get to play a late game vault. However, I can't share footage of that, at least not yet. The grasslands are a section of the open world that they've built out for this game, and it gives you a taste of just what they're doing differently here. The map is expansive, it's big, and they also have added in a bunch of new dynamic elements too, dynamic encounters and little things that'll pop up for one player but not others, to keep the open world feeling fresh, so it's not just like one gigantic linear level that's sort of open. They've actually tried to make it feel more alive and, again, dynamic. They've also added a handful of new movement mechanics that complement the old ones. Things like double jump, zip lines, glides, dashing, vehicle traversal, all of it combines into something that really...
The point, Kylo, is when you go to events like this, they put the best systems on the ground to have the best experience. They're not giving you Xboxes or PlayStations to play stuff like this. They want it to look the best to get the best impressions out.
Really flows nicely, and that they tie into also environmental challenges, puzzles, and even some of the boss arenas. And I love how some of these you can just stumble onto while you're exploring. This one that I did against Sydney Pointy Legs, a sort of mini boss in it.
Is that supposed to be Sydney Poitier, but it's Sydney Pointy Legs?
An arena guarded by a bunch of other enemies. This was not a boss fight I intended to kickstart. I was just exploring the open world and then found this like mini boss fight with a ton of crazy loot and unique elements to it.
That is terrible. Look at it. I'm not making fun of you, Luke. It's just funny because you said you're playing on PC, but
And found this
like you
mini
missed this
boss
guy.
fight with
I don't know how many times.
a ton of
1, 2,
crazy
3, 4, 5,
loot
6,
and
7,
unique
8, 9,
elements
10.
to it.
You've never even hit that bug that was on the ground.
And it was just something that happened. And I personally love that because I'm a player that's motivated often by challenges or, again, just cool discoveries. It's why I love games like Elden Ring, is finding a boss hidden in some corner of the map you thought that there was probably nothing in, but then you find a cool, unique boss fight. I love that kind of thing, and it's very much present here in Borderlands 4, which I really enjoyed. I mean, just rounding a corner thinking you were just going to find like a cliff and then finding something like this was really cool. And of course, because it's a Borderlands game, there's tons of weapon variety, and they fine-tuned all sorts of different aspects of...
Okay. We saw this on the last gameplay as well.
Tons of weapon
right? Is this his cat footage?
variety.
Because this is exactly
and
the
they-
same footage. So are they not showing their footage? This right here is
Fine-tuned-
stocked footage.
all sorts of different aspects of the weapon system. So now each individual part of the gun
Now I'm a little concerned here. I think they're giving B-roll. I mean, everyone played the same thing. So, Travis, you think because we play the exact same game, we're going to be the exact same thing? We're going to do the exact same thing? Is that what you're telling me right now? You think if we play the exact game, we're going to do the exact same thing?
is broken down into different manufactured components, and when the gun spawns, those components can complement each other or fight against each other, but you can build out synergies within.
They shared their footage with others? I thought when Legacy said that, they were sharing it with each of them that all went to go to the thing. I didn't know they were sharing it with other content creators.
In the player character skill trees to make sure that you specifically
Different angles? No, those weren't different angles. The crazy part is you're telling me you couldn't get enough footage for 3 hours, so you had to share with other people?
are benefiting from certain manufacturer components or from certain play styles within certain weapon archetypes. That's a really complicated way of saying.
Yeah, but El Dente, we wouldn't shoot the guy the exact same way in the exact same spot and the exact same missing shots. Stop it. Stop it. If it was their footage and it was missing the exact same shots in the exact same order, come on now.
Saying that there's a bunch of weapons that have all sorts of crazy unique aspects and components to them, and you can build out your playstyle however you want, and you can get some crazy complex and nuanced builds based on how
I said this when they brought up the weapon stuff earlier, right? And then me and Sarge got in a little banter back and forth. Is I think the way that they make the new system is going to be super convoluted as far as trying to get certain weapons to drop, because Borderlands fans, the ones that want to get the rolls they want to get, are going to go for that roll, but you'll never be able to get that because now you're changing the scope and the grip and the stock and everything else. So getting a purebred gun is going to be super astronomically high.
how you like to engage in certain encounters, and based on the playable character that you choose to go through the game with. We had access to Rafa and Vex, and I did try both of them. My footage with Vex is actually from the Vault mission, which again, I can't show you, and she was probably my favorite, but they both played very...
Now I have another question. You're saying they share footage. Did he say that he got footage from other people? I know Kodiak did, but I don't think Luke did.
Very differently, and I could see experimenting with each of them a good bit, finding which one you like the most. One thing I will say I didn't really get a good handle on was the writing. Of course, we were playing pretty specific sections of the game.
Did he at the start? Well, hold on a second. We're at what, 432? Okay, hold on.
Of Borderlands 4 at the 2K offices in California, and I have some thoughts. Full transparency, 2K flew me out to their studio to play the game in person on a PC instead of doing like a remote thing, and as a result they're sponsoring this video, but I did clarify with them I'm allowed to say whatever I want to say, positive or negative, and they agreed to that, which is always reassuring that a developer and publisher is willing to like take that risk for me to say something either positive or negative if I didn't like it, and it shows that they're confident in the product that they have here, and I think that's a really good thing. And it's backed up by my experience with the game, because what I think they have here is something pretty cool. It's shaping up quite nicely, at least based on what I played, and I'm going to tell you about it in this video. Like I said, we got to play about 3 hours of the game at their offices in California. I played off of PC, and I was playing on mouse and keyboard, as you'll see in my gameplay footage. They also specified that the version of the game we were playing...
In my gameplay footage...
was an older build from months prior. So while I was playing in mid-May, they said this was months older than that, and that tons of improvements had already been made, which is cool because the version I played was pretty good. So I was like, oh, it's better than this? Cool, I like that. So I want to clarify that, you know, things are only going to get better and better. And even so, what I played, I thought was pretty solid, especially for this point in development. So I want to give them credit for that. It seems like they're making really good progress. The portion of the game I'm allowed to share with you today.
So we're just going to make up stuff, right? Legacy said that he shared footage. He didn't say he shared footage. So I don't know.
Specific
that footage that he showed, his gameplay footage, was exactly the same gameplay footage as someone else's gameplay footage, which was B-roll.
Sections of the game, and we didn't really get a big deep dive into the writing or the narrative or the characters and how they interact. Most of our time with the game was about playing the game, not listening to like cutscenes or dialogue. So I can't really speak too much to how the...
Then he would say that he's sharing the footage.
Tone of the writing is, or whether it's super campy or...
Do you guys understand how, like, look, I'm watching Luke's video right now. So when I'm done watching his video, I'm going to put his link and channel in the description down below. Okay? So let me see something here. Okay? Does he say upcoming action role playing, timekeeper, exploration, no loading screens, travel, right? There is nothing down here saying that he used in any way, shape, or form. Okay? Thanks for 2K for sponsoring the video. Pre-order the game here, link below, okay? The cope with some of you is just absurd, okay? I'm trying to be as bare as I can be here, okay? When I see things that look weird, I point them out, okay? When you have the same footage as somebody else and yet not said out loud, hey, we're using other people's footage in the thing. Give them credit, put their name on the thing, put them in the description down below. Do something that says something, okay? You can't just take other people's footage and not give them credit in some way, shape, or form.
Or super cliche, or if it's more grounded. I'm not totally sure. What I do know for sure, though, is that we had developers on the project that were in the room with us. Specifically.
But Travis, you just said Sadat mentions other people. Has he mentioned anybody? So then why are you defending when I say that this footage is someone else's footage? And we're making up stuff now. You're like, well, he shared footage with this person and this person, and this is what other people are doing.
Specifically, we were in the room with Anthony Nicholson and Graham Timmons, who, as you can see, are the senior producer and the creative director on the game. Of course, you'll recognize them from this PlayStation State of Play that they did at the end of April, showcasing this game initially. And they said something very interesting, which, again, I haven't really had the chance to confirm myself, but they said they specifically wanted to make sure the tone of the game and the writing was grounded within the world itself. They didn't want the dialogue or the jokes to feel like they were just memes from out of nowhere that had nothing to do with what was going on. They wanted it to feel like all the characters actually lived in this world and existed there. They said they didn't want dialogue to feel out of place. They didn't want like an offhand comment to feel like, oh, that was just their attempt at a Hawk Tuah joke. Like they didn't want that. They wanted it to feel native to the world. And that is what I would hope to hear. Like that's a good thing to hear for me. But whether or not that ends up being the case, time will tell. Again, I just didn't have the chance to really sink my teeth into it, but they're saying the right things, at least in my opinion. I prefer it to be more grounded in the universe as opposed to just chasing cheap laughs, But speaking of cheap, it really seems this game is not that. They have put a lot of effort into little bitty quality of life features too. They have things like full crossplay for up to 4-player co-op.
Do you see how this is being, again, I'm not shitting on the game in any way, shape, or form, okay? The game actually looks pretty good as far as the smooth and what it is. The open world seems interesting. At the same time, I'm not interested in a Destiny-type game anymore because of just the way that was just been played out over the last 10 years, okay? I hope the game is done well. I'll get it down the line. I'm not going to get it when it comes out, okay? But so far, we've watched 2 videos. We're 6 minutes into a 12-minute video here. No negative stuff, really, besides little bits and pieces here. And maybe the game is perfect in every way, shape, or form, right? Maybe the video is perfect in every way, shape, or form. Okay? But it just seems the way it's structured a little bit more positive than not, if I'm not mistaken.
Co-op if you choose. Even little bitty features like the ability to customize the difficulty per player during co-op are present, which means that if you were playing this game in a big co-op party and maybe one player on the team is struggling with co-op or struggling with the challenge of a boss fight or something, they can customize their difficulty independent of yours. All of the loot generated is also independent, which means
that's not your choice though, Travis. If you're reviewing a game, you mention the good, you mention the bad. Right? Their job is to tell you what's good and bad about the game. That's what it is. That's your job. Right? So let me get this straight. If I'm a food critic, I order a steak, it has mushrooms on it and whatnot. I'm like, oh, the steak was great. I don't mention the mushrooms. I don't mention the mushrooms because, well, maybe the mushrooms are not for everybody. What the fuck are you talking about? You label everything on the thing. I had steak with roasted mushrooms, okay, with a little bit of asparagus. The steak was fantastic. The mushrooms were undercooked, right? Like, you literally say a bunch of stuff to give the person that's listening to you the full picture of the stuff, not removing something out of it and go, well, what happened to the mushrooms? Well, I didn't feel like it was necessary.
Means everybody is welcome regardless of skill level. Everybody can have. they can customize their difficulty independent of yours. All of the loot generated is also independent, which means everybody is welcome.
But this is just the first impressions. The full game is not out yet. Who gives a shit? I'm not saying about the full game. Did I ask for a review for the full game? No. I'm saying talk about what the game is. We got people in chat saying, well, maybe they thought it wasn't big enough. Give us your first impressions, good and bad.
Regardless of skill level, everybody can have the experience.
It's just perfect. It's just perfect. The grass is beautiful. The trees are great. The gunplay is fantastic. No bad things.
They want to have. And something that made me smile was, of course, the mention that they are also bringing back 2-player split screen co-op, which is a staple of Borderlands. I played Borderlands mostly in college with my roommates, where we would just vibe and chill in the basement of the little house we had rented for college, and we would just play Borderlands for hours and hours when we probably should have been studying. And it was great. And I look back on it very nostalgically, and I love it. And hearing that maybe we could do co-op split screen again is just really cool to me. And it's something a lot of other companies and games have dropped and abandoned, but they're doing it for Borderlands 4. And I think that that's awesome. And I want to give them praise for that, because I think we need more of these games that have couch co-op. I love couch co-op. It's fantastic. So that's awesome to hear. And of course, there's other quality of life improvements, such as overhauled loot, the drop rates being adjusted, trying to make sure that legendary weapons feel special and unique. All of the things, again, that I think you would hope to hear in a game like this. As for the moment-to-moment gameplay, I will say that most of the missions that I played, which again, were not many, given this was a more narrow selection of gameplay.
That's the negative part, that most of the gameplay was narrow because we didn't have enough time to play it.
Most of the encounters were fairly straightforward, fighting through waves of enemies, working my way through a large base or into a larger boss arena, only to fight one massive boss that had his own set of waves of enemies. Again, all pretty standard Borderlands stuff. It won't come as a surprise to you if you know these games that it works this way. And that's why it's a good thing that the gunplay is really tight. I mean, Borderlands is kind of...
I would hope so. It's Borderlands 4 and like the 6th game that they've worked on for gunplay.
Made or broken on its gunplay and the variety of its weapons, and based on what I experienced, they did a pretty good job here. There were the standard moments where I might feel like a weapon wasn't as good as a different type of weapon, or maybe this one needs a balance adjustment against another.
That is not a negative of the game. There's literally 18 quintillion guns. Like there's that's not a negative. If you have 10,000 guns in the game, you're always going to find a gun that's not as popular as another gun that's really popular.
But that's stuff that I'm sure they are fine-tuning as we speak. And so it's not really fair for me to complain about an early version of the game maybe having a shotgun that's too OP or too underpowered. The one thing, if I have to give one note, is that sniper rifles do not feel powerful enough.
Oh, well, there it is. There it is, folks. There is the one negative thing in the first playthrough was sniper rifles are not good enough.
It's the one thing, like sniper, marksman rifles, they didn't feel powerful enough to justify like the really slow speed, the ADS speed. Like it just didn't feel right. It felt like they needed to be more powerful. I told them this at the studio as well, and they seem to already be aware of it. So I'm just preaching to a brick wall, I guess, at this point. But, you know, nonetheless, I'll say it. But far and away, my favorite part of what I played were the boss fights. The vault that we got to do, which was a later game section, which, again, I can't show you just yet, but trust me, was really cool. And the various boss fights that I engaged with in the open world, one of which I accidentally found, and another was part of the main story that we were encouraged to go through. And, of course, you can go back through these even after you've completed them to continue grinding out higher level drops on certain weapons if you want them. You can.
Do you guys understand what I'm saying about, like, I understand it's a paid advertisement. It literally is a paid sponsorship, and it's put in a way, and the way they talk about it, we've watched 2 videos now, right? 2 videos, very, very, very in a positive light. And I get it. They paid for these people to come out.
And pursue it however you see fit. If you want to just tackle the same boss 15 times, you can do that. Or if you want to just kind of go meander through the open world, you can do that too. What amazed me though was just how open-ended everything was laid out. Like typically in Borderlands, at least the way I've traditionally played them, is it's pretty straightforward. Like you just kind of go from place to place, you follow these objectives. There might be some side activities you do here and there, but in general, you're going through the motions more broadly. But with this game, I often had moments where I just kind of paused and I went, okay, where do I want to go next? You know what? I'm going to go look over there. And that little moment of freedom was really like...
You could really do that, though, in Borderlands, the other ones, even with the not super open world thing, but it was a closed open world where you could go. The thing that he just described was what you could do before. Like, Borderlands wasn't all of a sudden this, like, broken game because you had to walk up to a door and 30 seconds later you were in, like, another realm that was just giant open world. Right? Now, because they got rid of that door, all of a sudden, amazing.
Frankly, refreshing. It was really cool, especially to go and then find something there like a cool, unique boss fight that other people in my play group didn't get to see. And that was one of the cooler things, was after we finished playing, being able to compare. Oh, did you do that side?
Oh, imagine. He's even describing that while the people were playing the game with him in the same room, they didn't see the same things. but some of you are defending, well, maybe they shot the same thing. Maybe they did the exact same thing.
Quest? Oh, did you find this boss? Did you see that thing over there? What?
They didn't see the same stuff, let alone shoot the exact same scene.
Dropped for you when you beat that boss. You know, that's one of the things that I think makes Borderlands special and that people really connect with. And I was really pleased that it's all present here. It's really tight, and I had fun. I don't know what else to say. I had fun. Now, of course, because I only got a little sliver of the game, it's too early to say anything specific about like the writing or the balance of co-op encounters or how the game functions when you're 10 hours deep and you've got a bunch of extra loot, how the in-game economy works, whether drop rates are balanced or not over the long term, and how the end game works. We don't know any of that, and we won't until launch. But the point of a preview is to give players a taste of what they have here, and hopefully to entice them into buying the game when it launches. And I think they did a pretty good job of that here. While I would have liked to have played more of the game without any sort of training wheels or guardrails or anything, I had a good time, and that is not something I can say about every game I do previews for. So I really enjoyed this. I'm excited to see what the game holds when it launches. Everything from the gunplay to the movement to the boss design, the open world layout, it all seems pretty solid, and I had a good time, and I'm excited to see how they fine-tune this closer to launch, because all sorts of things like AI behaviors within enemies, the balancing of certain weapons over others, all of that's going to be overhauled and improved as we get closer to launch. But based on what I played, I think they're already in a pretty good spot. But let me know what you think of Borderlands.
All right. Is there somebody? Is there another person? Is there one other person? Let me put these guys in the description down below. All right, go over to their channels, give them a like. They're in the description down below. Is there somebody else? Borderlands 4. Early, here are my thoughts. Who's this person? Borderlands 4 surprised me. It's actually awesome. That's Destin. As Across. You want me to watch one more? Should we see one more? Think we need one more? Is there like a big person that played it? Can you find one that sounds negative? I mean, I don't care if it's negative or not. No one said anything bad about anything. So maybe it's just the perfect game. Maybe, just maybe, maybe Gearbox has come up with the most perfect game on the planet Earth. I'm not looking for reviews, D, right? I'm not looking for reviews. I'm looking for honest opinions of people that played the game and give us their thoughts, right? 2 people we've found so far that are paid because they got paid sponsorship by 2K, okay? Perfect, you say? I'm going to pre-order it now. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, they figured out how to make the most perfect game. It can't be worse than the movie, right? Well, never say never. Never say never, Day. Maybe the worst negative part is buying a $150 version with no game. Azacross has a video. Did you watch it, Krebsy? Did he have positive and negative things to say, or just all positive? Inner Void says, even perfection doesn't cost $80. Apparently, that's right. It's the most perfect game, and it doesn't cost $80. Maybe the worst part is that the movie still exists. That could be. He was mostly positive. Did he have any negative things to say? Can you give me one negative thing to say? Luke Stevens said sniper rifles didn't feel well. That's it. That's it. And the other person said the map, the compass didn't feel good. So apparently, as long as you don't use the compass and you don't use sniper rifles, the game is perfect. The game is perfect. We've watched 26 minutes of videos and 2 negative things. Compass and sniper rifles. Watch out. Travis says, maybe the worst part is that the people that will bitch over puddles. No, I think the worst part is the people that blindly love something that don't want to know the good and the bad. And because you love something so much, you close your ears, close your eyes, and then say, well, I don't give a shit what other people say. And if you don't give a shit what other people say, then why are you listening? Robert Jones said, he said, check out the mainstream Borderland guy for better comparisons to older games. Okay, so I got to find someone that's a lover of Borderlands, but it's not so much lover that no matter what they do, because they probably said Borderlands 3 was awesome. Altern says, no one's saying the game is perfect. It's just that we don't know what the rest of the game is like. It's not what I'm asking, Altern. I'm not asking for a review for the game. I'm asking for their honest thoughts of what the thing is, and no one has anything bad to say that are sponsored. Just saying. Just saying. Roic says either Killer 6 or Moxie. Okay. So let me look at these up. I've never watched Moxie. Is Moxie a pretty straight shooter? A person that says the good and the bad? Aku says if the Prime Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remaster is free, $2 super chat. Say again. If you have Prime Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remaster is free. Got it. $2 super chat. Thank you very much for that. Azacross streamed the game yesterday, and Luke said his input is from mid-May. Azacross streamed the game yesterday, and Luke, like he played it yesterday. Travis says, I mean, no mini-map is an issue, hence why they're adding it back in, so 2K claims. You're not going to find a sponsored one that will give you the honest opinion. Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. I like Moxie. He has great for the future descent. Okay. Or the first descent. All right, let's go with Moxie.
Borderlands 4. Now, I was flown out by 2K. They paid for my hotel and my travel to come and play Borderlands.
Okay, so he's sponsored, just like everybody else. Okay. At least he said flown and put up in a hotel.
Borderlands 4. This video is sponsored by them. However, they're not requiring me to say anything about the game. They just want me to say my honest first impressions, and that's what I'm...
And I would love your first honest impressions. I would love it. I would love it. I've never listened to Moxie before, so I don't know what his style is or anything like that. I would love to get an honest opinion of what the game is, the good and the bad.
Going to be doing with y'all. So I hope you guys enjoy the breakdown. Let's get right into it. So let's start with what I got to play, and then we'll get into some more of the specifics. So the day started with a presentation where they caught everyone up to speed about what they're doing differently with Borderlands 4 and some of the key standout features. Now, most of these I knew or had covered in a previous video, but there were some things that were pretty interesting that they shared with us. The first is that the cast of characters in this game is mainly new characters. There are some returning faces, but they're really going to be building up new relationships and stories in this game. Next, they said that you can see the Timekeeper in his tower for, like, most of the game. He's going to be this constant, like, threat and presence watching your, like, every move. They also said that the humor in this game is going to be much darker and drier. They pointed out the shortcomings of Borderlands 3's humor and that it didn't land for many people, and they wanted to like really change up the humor style for this game. They also said that this is going to be the most detailed game yet. An example of that is there are 4 times the amount of polygons in...
Just to let you know, he's giving more information than both other guys did so far. Just random shit, but more information.
Weapons compared to Borderlands 3, which is pretty insane. And then after the presentation, those were some of the biggest notes, we got into our play sessions. These gameplay sessions lasted an hour and a half, so not very long at all. But they set us out on a level 5 character. At this session, we were able to play Vex or Rafa.
Take his junk. I like that they do that. So take, equip, and take his junk.
I
didn't mention that in the other ones, and they showed it.
My time on Rafa because he was the character that I knew the least about at the time, and we kind of got to go explore the open world of the like first biome of the game, do some story quests, do some open world quests, kind of explore. It was pretty much up to us what we wanted to focus on, but once again, we were only level 5 for that, so you know, pretty limited skill tree build options type deal. And then after that 90-minute session, they gave us 45 minutes.
Did anyone mention, I don't remember anyone mentioning, maybe I missed it, maybe you guys could fill me in, Legacy or Luke, did they say anything about how good the NPCs felt? I don't think they did, right?
To go play a vault mission. I don't know what vault mission this was, if there's like an order to them, but we were level 20. They gave us a set skill tree with set gear, and we were able to go do that vault and then play it on both Vex and Rafa and play it as many times as we want in that like 45 minutes. And I also got to interview Graham Timmons, who's the creative director of the game after all of that. And then we head out for the afternoon. Now, I'm going to be making a lot of videos about my time playing this. This is going to be more...
I would love to know that if there's no negativity in this video, he says he's going to make a lot more videos. I would love to watch one that's not sponsored by 2K and then see what happens.
Kind of overview first impressions, but I'm going to have separate videos that just deep dive into all of the tiny little details of the skill tree. I'm going to have a video dedicated specifically to my interview with Graham Timmons, where I asked a lot of my most burning questions, and so much more. So just note that this is the very start of my content that's going to be focused on Borderlands 4 of the time I actually got to play here, and this is going to be kind of the most like overview-like. So my first like 10 to 15 minutes that I spent were basically just looking at Rafa's skill tree. Now Rafa's Vault Hunter trait, these are like, kind of like new to Borderlands 4. Basically they're like an inherent passive that the different characters get. For example, Vex, whatever weapon she's holding, her action skills will deal that elemental damage of that weapon. And Rafa's trait is called Overdrive. Whenever Rafa activates an action skill, he enters Overdrive, and then while his action skill is active, Overdrive's duration does not decrease. So basically, as long as your action skill is up, you have overdrive, and then when your action skill ends, you get to keep overdrive for like 12 seconds. And this gives you a damage increase and a 25% movement.
Altered says, this video is not sponsored by 2K. And guys, let me tell you how shit Borderlands 4 is for the next 40 minutes. Now, I don't think anyone's going to do that. That's not what I'm asking for. That's not what I'm asking for, right? I'm not blinded by, like, it's okay. If the game is perfect, it's perfect. If what they played is perfect and there was no grimes, there was no gripes and whatsoever, cool. It just comes off a little weird when your game or your video is sponsored and everything out of your mouth is rainbows, butterflies, okay? And the one thing is that, well, the compass is bad and the sniper rifle.
Speed increase. So Rafa's action skill, while he's up, he is very fast. And such a fast movement speed buff from literally like level 2 is pretty powerful. Rafa's first action skill is called Arc Knives. This is the one that Gearbox started us out on. And this basically puts you into a like melee stance, and you swing your blades around that deal melee damage, and they mark enemies. And enemies that are marked take increased damage, then kind of zeros like death mark basically is what you're going to be doing with your melee damage. And then while you're in the Arc Knives mode, you actually have different kind of attacks. So your right trigger on controller or your like main click just does your melee attack. Your left trigger does a dash that did a ton of damage.
That melee does not look good. I know he's talking about the melee. That melee doesn't look good.
And this is also considered melee damage. Like, it wasn't action skill damage, it was melee damage, which, you know, obviously has some pretty interesting implications for builds. And then your left bumper was unleashing your Blade Fury, which does shock damage to all marked targets and ends the skill. So this is something that you would click after, or like right when your action skill was about to end. So kind of the flow of it is you dash to enemies, melee, 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 dash through them because the dash did a ton of damage. It was on a short cooldown. You would dash around, and then once you had hit everything, if there were some enemies that you hadn't killed yet, you would hit your LB to detonate basically all of the enemies around you. Now, this had a base duration of 32
he's got
seconds.
A 24-minute
so
long
you're
one.
up for a long time. With 48-second cooldown, you could mark enemies, 4 enemies at a time, basically, or you could only have 4 enemies marked, and then you would get +6 damage per mark. So I think this was something that was like stacking,
Here,
basically.
gameplay discussion.
Than when my time with playing Rafa. Now let's get into the actual gameplay. And if you played Borderlands 3, the gameplay is like Borderlands 3, but if Borderlands 3 was a lot faster feeling. The movement that they've added to the game is kind of insane. You can just kind of double jump, dash into a slide, into a grappling hook, and you can chain all of these things together to feel really fluid. The gunplay feels like, you know, a slight improvement from Borderlands 3's gunplay, and the enemy variety that I was fighting against felt new. There's new enemies that bring new challenges, and we'll talk about bosses in a second. But this is where some of my first concerns started to arise, is when I started to play gameplay. And
Hold on a second. He actually said he's got concerns. I'm listening now. I'm listening.
the first was, you know, I have classically played Borderlands 3 on controller. Since then, I've basically moved back to mouse and keyboard for most games. But I tried Borderlands 4 on mouse and keyboard and controller, and maybe it was just the like amount of time that I got to play, which was very short. I didn't get to like set up all my settings, but I was having a real hard time getting a sensitivity that felt good. I kept having to like tweak my sensitivity on both mouse and keyboard and controller because I went back and forth between the two, and something just felt a little off there. I don't know what it was. Maybe you just need more time in the game to really get my sensitivities down, but just I did notice that like I was having a little bit more trouble just aiming.
Okay. All right. Now, I did notice in the very first video, I said something feels off about the gunplay. Okay. El Dente said that the recoil and whatever seems a little delayed, and now he's saying that something's wrong with the sensitivity, which then makes me think that what I'm looking at, there's something wrong there. I didn't know what it was. Maybe that's what it is.
Which I, didn't feel at all when I was playing Borderlands 3, so I just wanted to call that out. The other thing that I didn't like about particularly playing controller on this game is in Borderlands 3, you had a setting where you could change the controller binds to be like classic Borderlands binds, where you could use the D-pad to select what weapon you wanted to use. So if you pressed up on the
Yeah, up would
D-pad,
be your main
you could
weapon. Yeah.
then, get the weapon that was in the top slot. If you press down, you get the weapon in the bottom slot. With all of their changes to be able to summon a vehicle out in the world, with the button for the rep kit and everything, they do not have the ability to have your keybinds on controller to do the like classic Borderlands wheel where you can choose what weapon you want to select. So, now you have to either cycle through the weapons, or you can kind of hold the weapon swap to pull up a weapon wheel and then go and click up or click down to get the weapon that you want. Not the biggest deal, but as a controller player,
Well, it's not really a big deal, but that is kind of a big deal because you're constantly swapping weapons, right?
I was kind of sad to see that classic Borderlands controller layout where you can just hit the D-pad to instantly swap to exactly the weapon that I want to be gone. The other gameplay issue that I was having was actually with the compass. Now,
There it is, the compass. The compass is Altern, put big capital letters, the compass. That's the biggest problem.
There's been kind of a tirade on Twitter, mainly led by Mr. Killer 6, about the dismissal of the minimap, which has been a feature in Borderlands 2 and Borderlands 3, with the introduction of the compass that was in Borderlands 1. And I do have to say that I was entirely on Team Compass leading up to getting to actually play the game. And maybe it's just something that I'll learn and get more used to as I play more. But I was fine.
Hey, the compass. Hey, that is the problem. That's the only problem with Borderlands 4. The compass. That's it.
Finding myself kind of struggling to use the compass. And that was mainly because a lot of the times when you would point in a direction, the compass would point at 8 different icons all at the same time, and it was kind of difficult to understand.
Can't you just shut off the thing that you want? Can't you pin a point of interest?
Then navigate to which one you wanted to get to. So kind of just showing up on screen right now, you can see on my compass there's 4 different icons all in the exact same kind of direction, and they're
First of all, that's not the first time it's ever happened with a compass, right? You can go back to Skyrim. There's 1,000 things, but as you get closer to the object, right? If there's 10 items in the compass, and I keep walking that direction, they start to spread apart. You know why? Because they're not in a fucking line with each other. That's been a thing with compasses since the compass has ever been in a video game. So people are upset about the compass because they don't know how to read a compass. I think that's the problem. A lot of people here have not been part of Boy Scouts in any way, shape, or form, or don't know how to read a compass.
all overlap.
So it's not really the compass's fault. It's the people using the compass. Got it.
And I asked Gearbox specifically, hey, can I control what pops up on my compass so that if I don't care about vaults anymore, I don't have to see them on the compass bar? And they said that it's not an option. So, maybe it's something they can add for launch. But I was, having a little bit of difficulty navigating not only out in the world with the compass, but also I was finding myself just looking at the top bar when an enemy was shooting at me from behind, because there were sometimes it was hard to I was looking at new enemies and new allies.
When you get hit, it shows you from what direction you're getting hit by,
It
though.
was hard to differentiate what was an enemy and what was an ally. A lot of times I was just looking up at the compass, trying to line up my little center dot in the compass where an enemy was to kind of pinpoint.
Do we have a whole group of people that are younger that don't know how to read a compass? I didn't think this was a problem.
Where I should be aiming and where I should be shooting. Just a small little detail, but, I want to give you guys my honest impressions, and that was one of them. The next thing to mention is, enemy scaling out in the open world, and that was something that was a big question going into this, is I really wanted to know, can I go anywhere in this world and fight enemies my level? If I finish the game and then I go back to the starting area, are enemies going to be level 5 and, invalidate all of that open world content? How are they going to make sure that the open...
Now, see, this is a major, could be problem, could be nothing, but what he's asking right now is a very, right? If the world is gigantic, right? If the world is gigantic and there's level 1 guys in the region that I am before. But now as I level up, when I come back to this area, if I could play the whole world, are level 1s now level 5s? Are they level 10s? Are they level 20s later? Like, how does that work?
Open world is interesting and like invalidate all of that open world content. How are they going to make sure that the open world is interesting and engaging? And what they've gone with is kind of this like semi-dynamic level scaling, where basically when you get into the world, you know, the starting area is going to have low-level enemies, and, you know, areas with, like, cooler loot and stuff like that might have higher-level enemies, but it's not like you can go from one end of the map to the other and fight enemies your level.
But then that's not open world. I mean, sure, it's open world. But once I'm done with level 1s, why would I go back to the level 1 area? Why would I do that?
Only like the starting beginner areas are going to have low-level enemies, and if you come...
So, Destiny had this problem, right? Destiny had this problem when they first started. You would go to the, what was the thing called? The Cosmodrome, right? And certain areas would have always low-level guys no matter what, and you just shoot them one tap and kill them all once you're a certain level. Only till you got to a certain level, the guys that were skulls would then turn into their level, whatever. It could be a level 10, it could be level 20. But once you surpassed that, that was it.
Back to that low-level area at the end of the game, let's say you're level 50, those enemies will actually scale up in level, but they're never going to be like at your level exactly, but loot should still drop at your level, if that makes sense.
So lower level guys will drop higher level loot. All right, so if I want to, you play the game how you want, but if I don't want to go to the other levels where maybe the bad guys are just too high level, not strong enough, I can just go back to the lower level, basically shoot into a cave, get an engram, or in this case, a weapon, and that weapon will drop at my level. It seems a little bit, I mean, water's going to find the lowest point. Gamers are going to go to the lowest point. Why would they shoot the higher level guys to get the gear that's their level when they can shoot the lower level guys and get gear to their level?
So, like, with the enemies that I'm fighting at level 5 right now, if I came back to here at the end of the game, as they explained it to me, these enemies would be, like, level 45-ish, but they should still be giving me, like, on-level loot, for example. Basically, they want it so that the world is engaging, that you're going to be, you know, challenged. If you want to go out and explore and find cool stuff, you're going to be fighting more challenging enemies. I found enemies that were a higher level than me immediately were very noticeable.
But what's going to happen in a game like this, and this is why Borderlands doesn't need a really open world gameplay, is because if you find a boss and the boss has a loot table and you kill that boss, okay, you're going to go after that boss over and over and over and over because that's what you do, okay? In their realm, they're saying that, oh, all these chests and stuff will open up at your level, but you're not going to go for a chest if you're just getting another dinky gun that's nothing. And if good guns can drop from those things, then anything can drop from anywhere, then what's the point of going for the bosses? You see what I'm saying?
More difficult, but that you can kind of, you know, curate your difficulty. If you want to go out and go to those higher level areas, if you've got a good build, you can fight those more challenging enemies and get some more rewarding stuff, or you can kind of stay in the main mission area and do those main missions. And it's a non-linear story, is also something that's also going to be going on. There was multiple kind of options to engage with what story quest I kind of wanted to do next in this world. And I thought all of that was really good. I didn't really know what I wanted from that going into it, but I think the system that they've gone with is going to be, hopefully, really good. And it sounds like it's going to be an engaging open world to explore. Speaking of engaging open world, after I had finished my, like, you know, main 90-minute session and had done the vault a few times, I jumped back into my, like, level 7 character.
Yes,
and
yes, we do what John Walker says. John Walker would love this game because you don't have to actually fight the bosses. You can just go around, kill lower level guys, and still get good loot.
One of the devs, Graham Timmons, who is sitting next to me, was like, just go out and explore, you know, go see what you find. And that's exactly what I did. I hopped on my bike, and one of the really cool things about this game is the like quest structure that they seem to be going with. Is there's going to be a lot of stuff that just pops up, things that you're not actually seeking out, but things that are going to happen in the open world that will drive your attention elsewhere or divert your attention to go do something that maybe you didn't think you were going to be going to do. And I found this in like a huge example when I was just driving around. I picked a random direction and I started going that way. And while I was driving, a burning ship started flying through the sky. And I could obviously tell that, you know, it looked like it was going to crash somewhere. And as I was driving, I saw it drop a like care package as it was flying. And so I kind of went and followed the smoke trail from where the ship went down. And that's what ended me in a huge kind of salvage wreck mission.
That's cool.
And sure enough, when I got to the
That's cool. That's an interesting thing.
ship wreckage, there was a whole mission to do there. And then there was another mission that kind of led into this like other mission. And, you know, I didn't plan on going to do this, but it got me in this like crazy quest chain that I ended up exploring this whole like underground area, because where the ship had crashed, there was a drilling site. And after I had like basically turned off the drills, I was able to go underneath.
Well, basically what it does is, right, it holds your hand, but makes you feel like it's not holding your hand, because it's like, hey, we want someone to go check out this area of the map, okay? And because no one's they're just going to go towards the point of interest. They're like, oh, what's that? Then they get there, you lure the people in, which is great, right? Right now I'm playing Dune Awakening, and Dune Awakening does this with the ships, crash ships, or different events that happen, right? The event of spice that goes in the air. It's trying to bring you towards something to have this adventure where you go grab this stuff and it's got the best loot, but you also might get eaten by the big ass worm, right? This is showing you as he was driving, like, hey, look, there's a crashed ship. And you're like, oh, I could go towards that crashed ship, or I could stay on the path that I'm at, right? That crashed ship's going to happen maybe again. Maybe you'll find it later. Maybe it stays crashed, but it's to drag you over to, hey, check this stuff out. You might like this.
Underneath where the drills had been mining,
It's cool.
and find a secret camp infested with a bunch of enemies and get a bunch of cool loot. And this is just one example. Obviously, I only got to play the open world for like, you know, about 2 hours. But it does seem like not only is there going to be your like main quest structure, but there's also going to be a lot of dynamic events happening in the open world, such as the world bosses, which I personally did not get to experience, but other players in my play session did. And I'm just so excited to explore this world. I feel like I got to see basically none of it in my time playing. It genuinely seems massive. Obviously, like, I don't really have like an idea of or how to like tell you how big it is. I don't really have anything to compare it to.
Well, in Borderlands 3, when we were going in the world, there wasn't a lot of stuff going on, but the maps were gigantic. Okay, hopefully they fill the map with shit to do. Right? There was a lot of stuff in Borderlands 3 that it was just open world, and there wasn't a lot of stuff there.
Because I only saw like a little bit of the first section, but I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about the open world section of Borderlands, and it seems like it's going to be really cool. Now, there is one caveat that I do want to point out, and we'll see how it plays. But like, for example, my first time playing Elden Ring, you know, the open world was crazy, and I went and explored everything, and there were so many cool things to find. But then my like third playthrough of a game like Elden Ring, I knew where what I cared about was, and I knew what I didn't
That's going to happen all the time. That's going to happen all the time.
care about was, and so I just went and explored the things I cared about, right?
Yeah, because, look, they can make a giant open world, and that's fantastic. Bonus. Or negative, all depending on where you look at it, okay? But if I go into this room that he just found, right, and this room happens to drop a weapon in a chest, or there's a boss in there, and you kill that person, and you get this really cool weapon, you're like, oh, you happen to use that weapon. Then someone goes, hey, where'd you get that weapon? Oh, let me show you, right? Then all of a sudden, you go to that room. It doesn't matter how big the world is. If the gun that awesome, whatever that point is, whatever that point of interest is, that is going to be the place that everyone goes. So when you play it again, you're like, I don't care about 9/10 of this map. The best weapon's in this door, right? It drops there. And if it doesn't drop there and it can drop anywhere, then, you know what I mean? People like structure. They want reason to do stuff. And if they find the easiest way to do it, they're going to find the easiest way to do it. It doesn't matter if you make the world 1,000 miles or if it's, super condensed and it has so much shit to do. They're going to find the easiest path and go through it.
Just went to go do the things that I knew I was going to get an upgrade or get a good weapon from. So we'll see how that works in Borderlands.
The replayability, I don't know. The way I look at it is Starfield, No Man's Sky, 18 quintillion planets. Oh my God, there's 18 quintillion planets. Can you imagine all the things that we can find? And yet, not really. 1,000 planets. Oh my God, can you imagine the 1,000 planets what the stuff we can go about? But then not really.
Borderlands 4, my only concern with the open world is kind of that, is that once you know where everything is and once you know what activities are good and what activities are not, then maybe you're not exploring the open world as much. You're just beelining it to whatever is important.
Of course.
And so hopefully that is not the case, but it is a concern that kind of crossed my...
And here's the worst part. Here's the worst part of this. And this is not on Borderlands. This is just the way gamers game. Okay? Now, because if this game came out and it was 1990, okay, and there was no internet, then a person going in the open world map would take them forever. It would be thousands of hours. But we don't live in that time frame. We live in the future where internet exists and people watch, hey guys, welcome to my channel. I just found the greatest weapon ever known to man right here. Let me show you how to get here, right? In YouTube, and then boo, it spreads like wildfire. It doesn't take weeks. It takes hours to put up, and then someone that's playing the game watches something. Man, I saw this guy destroying everything. Where'd he get that weapon? Where'd you get that weapon? Oh, I got this weapon over at this boss. This boss has a 9.2% chance of dropping, and then that's what they do, okay? It destroys an open world because the open world now becomes a very tiny world because millions of people, great for them because they sold millions of copies, millions of people are playing the game, and yet they'll figure it out what the best is within hours of gameplay.
My mind after I was done playing. Guys, that's going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed. You'll know that there's some aspects of the game that I didn't get to talk to about, such as like the whole licensed part system and all the different random roles that you can be getting on gear.
I liked his video better than the other two.
Separate video, but overall, from my time playing, I left wanting to play more, which is always a good sign, and even more excited for the future.
Look, I don't think Borderlands is going to be a shit game. I don't. Okay, I think if you're just playing, not even for story purposes, if you're just playing the game and having fun shooting stuff and going in the open world and you like Borderlands, by all means, play Borderlands. Obviously, this is a preview event. I'm not looking for them to trash or shit the game, but I am looking for stuff like what he just said about the open world, okay? Nobody else talked about that. They talked about the compass and sniper rifle, okay? His concerns, and now also going, I don't know how this open world is going to be, because is it going to be interesting or is it going to fall off fast, right? Are they going to put stuff in the thing? Showing you stuff like the event happened with the ship crashing, that's cool, okay? But I want to know more of like what's happening because, again, you telling me an open world and you telling me that weather effects and you can travel better. You know what I mean? So, all right. Let me put his channel in the description as well. Was it Moxie? MOXSY. And give that a like. All the descriptions, all the videos that we watched today are in the description down below. Make sure you head on over there. All right, we got Split Gates. We got Borderlands. Let's talk about this right here. So the first image of Xbox Quest 3S leaks online. Okay, now there was a couple of ones. There was a picture. People were talking about it. And we did a video last year in April, so over a year ago, okay, where they talked about Zuckerberg came on and said that they're making a assortment of different ones. They're making a workout one. They're making out a Xbox one. So everyone's like, They forgot about it. But I don't forget about it. I have a video on it. Okay, you can go check out that video talking about the Meta Quest and how much they would charge for it and where it should be in the price point. And again, I said that Xbox is not going to make a VR headset. Everyone's like, you think they're going to make a VR headset to compete with the... I said, no, they're going to team up with someone, and that's exactly what they do. Now, you don't need to buy, if this comes out, you don't need to buy this. You can go buy a Meta Quest 2. You can go buy a Meta Quest 3, any version, and you can still play the Xbox stuff on it. Now, I don't know what this is going to do differently than the other ones, but they are teaming up, right? So they teamed up with Facebook or Meta. They teamed up with Asus, right? They're not making the hardware, but they put their stuff on the actual stuff. Now, this is not the actual design. We don't know what the actual looks like. This is, okay? It says an image of Meta Quest 3S Xbox Edition has surfaced online, seemingly confirming today's rumor. The new announcement of the device will come next week. We're here, so we'll see what happens, okay? Insider Gaming independently verified that the Xbox Quest 3S has already been sent to some retailers. Xbox has been on a massive multi-platform push, recently announcing the Asus ROG Ally partnership. Handheld console confirming the partnership with AMD for the next gen console. Now the VR device, in collaboration with Meta, has leaked online. Meta Quest 3S Xbox Edition packaging leaks online. An image posted here. So the Xbox features a Meta S Xbox Edition written in front of with the logos and both companies on the bottom right corner. The VR headset is entirely black with a green ring around the face panel. Edges compared to the traditional Meta Quest 3, which is all white headset, very much on brand with Xbox. On top of that, right on the box, it can be seen an Xbox wireless controller too, but it's unclear if it's included with Xbox Edition Meta Quest. Okay. Now, who said this? Who said it? That if they just packaged something with a controller and Game Pass and they would sell these things, okay? I said it with the dongle. I said it with the headset. I said you could just buy, right? Said this years and years and years ago, and it looks like that's exactly what's happening, okay? Now, I don't know what this is going to cost. It would be stupid if it costs more than the Meta Quest does right now and it only does the Xbox stuff, because that would be idiotic, because then you can just go buy a regular Meta Quest and then use a controller, okay? So we'll see what happens, okay? It says a few hours ago, details of the Xbox Edition Meta Quest leaked online will reportedly cost around $399, which is the same price. Am I wrong? Is the regular Meta Quest, isn't a regular Meta Quest $400? You can get a cheaper one for the smaller storage, I think for $299. Okay? But I'm pretty sure this is still more expensive than a regular Meta Quest, which is dumb. Okay? So the Ultimate have 120 gigabyte storage, according to the source. The official announcement for the Xbox and Meta collaboration headset will arrive next week on June 24th. What's today? Oh, tomorrow. I guess we're going to be talking about this tomorrow. Insider Gaming has already contacted Microsoft and Meta for comments, has not received any response as of writing this. Okay? So, look, I don't know what Xbox is doing as far as their price point. Let me look at what Meta Quest cost. Meta Quest 3, right, is $499. Now, remember, they actually were $399 back in the day, and then on Tuesday, they just changed it. You can get a Meta Quest 3 right now, okay? You can get a Meta Quest 3S, 128 gigabyte, dive into a mixed reality Unreal device for $299, right? $299. Now, obviously, that's not including an Xbox controller, and that's not including Game Pass. So Game Pass, let's say 3 months, Ultimate, that's $60 right there. That's the price of a video game, old days, okay? And then the controller, you could pick a controller up on sale for like $40, okay, which is an additional $100. So there's the difference of what's happening, right? The $100 add-on to this is the controller and the Game Pass. I think Xbox, and again, I don't know how they would do this, okay, but obviously, if they could give it for $350 or even the $300 with that, I don't think this would make VR, because it's not VR supported. It's just playing video games inside your headset. Now, I don't know if they're going to make VR games. I don't, okay, but I do know that I use my my MetaQuest 2, okay, and I play Game Pass all the time. When I travel, I bring that with me, and I have a movie-sized screen in my view. I can see the pass-through, so I can still see my family and whatnot, but I'm playing on a gigantic screen while they're on TV or while they're doing something or while they're chatting, okay? And I can play and still have a conversation with them, and I have the black and white, right, pass-through. With the MetaQuest 3, you have the color pass-through, right? You got the cameras over here, which is much better than the ones on the MetaQuest 2. But I knew this was happening. Everyone seems like shocked about it. Like, again, we literally had a video last year on this. Here, let me bring it up. I think the price point's a little weird. But then again, they just raised the price of the Xbox Series S and X. Maybe that's why. They don't want you to get that Series S. You can get this for much cheaper, right? This was last April is where I remember talking about it. It's May of last year. Yeah, here it is. It's time for the meta. It's time for the meta. All right, let's talk about the MetaQuest, since that's what we're talking about, right? The flexibility of my show. Chat's talking about it. This so let's
is
talk about
from
what's going on, Kylo. Actually,
April
before we
last
watch
year?
this, let's watch this. April 26th last year. The Zuckerberg up here.
Today, we are releasing Meta Horizon OS, our operating system
It's nice that he brushed his hair before he went on camera. And can someone tell him they make microphones that you don't have to hold?
that powers Quest virtual reality headsets. We are partnering with best hardware companies out there to design new headsets that are optimized
It's amazing that a
computer on your desk, provide the best work experience whether you're at home or anywhere else you go. Or you can imagine one that's fully focused on watching immersive movies and videos, highest resolution.
what I want to know is that, are each of these headsets the exact same price? Does the headset that you're just doing to work out, is that still going to cost $400? Is the gaming one going to cost $400? Is this other one cost $400? Because it's like, why can't I just have one headset that does it all? Why do I have a niche headset? We'll talk about this a little. And that's the weird part, right? You're going to pay $400. I would rather pay an extra $50, $100, and get more out of the headset than just the Game Pass version of it. In a second.
So our goal is to make it so that the open model defines the next generation computing, again, with the metaverse glass heads. That's why we're releasing our operating more build.
All right, so based on that, right, like I think it's interesting that he is talking about how niche stuff, like if let's just make a gaming headset, and the gaming headset for high quality games, or maybe you just want to, like, the gaming is high quality gaming, meaning any console, any type of thing. He's talking about specifically an Xbox headset that can play Xbox Game Pass with a control. This is a year ago, and people are like, what? There's a headset coming out? Oh my God, Xbox has got a headset with Meta? Yeah, they already talked about it. They said it over a year ago. Controller and Game Pass. This is exactly what I've said in the past about Microsoft. This is what they're going to do. They're just going to give you Game Pass and a controller, and you would pay a little bit more. But now, obviously, they're partnering up with MetaQuest to do something. But I don't know about the workout one or the work environment one. Like, if you're going to make that the exact same price that you're working on now, if they could bring those headsets down, now, if you can get the MetaQuest with a controller with Game Pass for like $200, that would sell. That would sell. Okay, yeah, that's not happening, old Mike. Okay, no way, 200, 250. Hey, 400. Let's go to the article, okay? An Xbox VR headset is on the... So there you go. I was talking about it way before we brought it up. And then last year when Zuckerberg brought it up and said that they are making an Xbox headset, it was in a video. They showed it in a video. But then all of a sudden now people are like shocked that, what? Xbox is making a VR headset? I don't know why. Yeah, that's younger, more naive Mike. Yeah. It just doesn't make sense for if the Xbox version of that headset only does Game Pass, dumb. If it's a regular headset, if it's the MetaQuest, does everything else the MetaQuest does, and it's just black with a controller and Game Pass, that makes sense. Okay? But if it's just like Game Pass, it makes no sense to pay that much money for it. That's pre-tariff, Mike. Also, people have squirrel brains. It's very true. It's very true. Actually, I think it was wishful thinking, Mike. 200. No, I don't think it's wishful thinking. The way that I looked at it is Z, and I'll tell you exactly. Because if the headset is just an Xbox, okay, and you're buying a controller and the thing, it's not as high powered, okay, you're playing through the cloud, so it doesn't have the stuff. You have smaller storage, okay. I thought it would be that around that price. 250 is what I should have said, not 200, okay, because it makes no sense to buy this headset to play video games when you could buy a regular MetaQuest 3 for the same price. You see what I'm saying? What I'm saying, Sarge, is what Zuckerberg said in his video that we watched over a year ago. He was talking about how the MetaQuest was going to have a headset, which is an all-inclusive headset that had all the stuff on it. Then they were talking about making one for, like, Office, where it was just doing, like, just work stuff. Then they had one that was just for workout, and then you have a workout band that you could put on your head so it didn't sweat and whatever else. Then they were talking about Xbox, just Xbox, the Game Pass, like Portal type of thing, okay? And I was like, oh, okay, right? So I was basing it off of if it's just Game Pass, that's the only thing you could do. Basically, it's a television set on your face, okay? Where you just access Game Pass, you put it on, you can watch it on the big screen, that's it. That's why I said the price I said. Because if they're pulling everything else out of it, and you can't play the MetaQuest games, and you can't do it for other things, then there's no point, right? Hence why it would be a lower price. But now that it's $400, I'm assuming it's just a black MetaQuest 3S, okay, that says Xbox on it because you like it Xbox, and they put the controller and they put the thing, but you can still do everything else. I'm assuming. Again, I guess we'll wait for tomorrow. Altered says they say is a Quest 3S black with an Elite strap and Xbox controller. Right. So if it's the Elite strap, okay, controller and Game Pass. Again, the video, or I'm sorry, the box doesn't show Game Pass on there, right? It doesn't show Game Pass on there. It just shows MetaQuest 3S Xbox Edition, and that's basically what it is. It's a MetaQuest Xbox Edition. It's like paint. You know what I mean? See, if they're doing it where it's just Game Pass, then they could lower the price. But I don't think these sell very well because it's marketing towards the Xbox saying, hey, this is an Xbox. But you could do that right now with the MetaQuest 2. You could do that right now with your cell phone. You could do that right now with all these other things. So people that are buying this, it's like, the only reason you want to buy this is because Meta's white and you want it to be black, so you buy a black version of it. Right. It's exactly right, Titan. Just a different color and a strap. That's it. $4.99. Altered says the Elite strap alone costs $129 and Xbox controller $64. So if you're able to bring that for $400, it might sell. Yeah, I guess. I don't think these are going to fly off the shelves. That's why I said the price that I said last year. If it's just sold as an Xbox, okay, without the other stuff, and you can only play your games where you're maybe you're in a. I said this in my video. I remember saying this in my video for 100%. Maybe if you're like in an apartment, or maybe you share a house with a lot of people, you don't have that many television sets or whatever, right? This, you can sit anywhere, and you can have your own private television set, right? Your own private movie theater, your own private gaming. So if you can't afford, it's not about not affording a television set. You might not have the room for the extra television set. Maybe you live in a 2-bedroom place, right? You have one place or one television set. Maybe you don't want a television set, but maybe you want to have a headset, and now you can play it on the back patio or whatever, right? So it's not a VR. It's just a TV set, basically, that you wear on your face. Titan says it's an Xbox strap-on. Altern says, nah, VR will never fly off the shelf. Yeah, this is not going to fly off the shelf because this is also not a VR thing. They're not. I would assume they're not making VR games or dabbling into VR games. Okay, obviously you could play if you hook this headset up to your PC. you want to play Microsoft Flight Sim and stuff like that, yeah, you can use it. But you see the difference. PlayStation did millions and millions of dollars in research and development to make the PlayStation VR, and then they abandoned it because it was flying off the shelves. And Xbox was like, yeah, we'll just put our name on your thing. How much do we pay you? More branding. Right? There's the difference. So we'll see. I mean, I bitched about it last year when they made the Meta Quest 3 where it was $299, and then on Tuesday it was $499. Or I'm sorry, $399. Right? They just raised it $100. For what reason? It was Tuesday. It was the best-selling headset out there, the Meta Quest. And then they went, we want to make sales smaller. So we'll see what happens with it. I guess tomorrow it'll pop up on the stream. All right, you wanted me to look at, what time is it? It's 12:36. Is this a long video here, Travis, for this game? This is a 19-minute long video. Is this just gameplay? It just looks very generic. What am I looking at? Okay. I've hit point after point after point on this. Let me bring it up. Okay. I've clicked point after point after point. Okay. And you can tell that no matter where I pick in this thing, it's just a girl walking around in an empty room or doing nothing. What is this? Look. What's happening here? What's happening? Oh, did she kill something? Oh, fantastic. She finally killed something. Like 20 minutes and I don't see shit happening. Oh, it's a dinosaur. Here we go. What is this, Black Widow? Is this Jurassic Park? She's dead. Did you see that? Come on. Right here, she's dead. She gets eaten right here. Look. She's in the mouth. She's in the mouth. She is dead. Nope. Flesh wound. Flesh wound. She would be fucking legs. Her ankles would be left on the ground. I'm excited, aren't you? Okay. So for 19 minutes, barely anything's happening. It's a weird place for a chandelier. It's a little weird to have a chandelier in a hallway like that. Someone literally was like, we should make a Black Widow game. Girl looks like Black Widow. in a skin tight thing. Assets look great, by the way. The assets look great. She's trying to find HR. Yeah, see, the assets are good. They're going for that stellar blade. The first descendant. Skin tight. The cameraman's got one job and he nailed it and that's it. You think it's coincidence that the camera just cuts off right there? This looks like game of the year stuff, guys. Game of the year, for sure. It's called Code Violet. Code Violet. PlayStation. It's on PlayStation. 16.3 million subscribers and only been watched 279,000 times. Actually, I would love to know. Hold on. Let me see what the downvotes, if there's any downvotes. See what it looks like. We have 11,000 likes and 1.5K dislikes. 279,000 people watched it. 12,000 people hit a button. I think maybe Travis was testing the waters out, right, Travis? You're like, I'm interested in this game. Let me throw it up in the chat and see what Mike thinks about it. If he likes it, I'll get it. If he doesn't like it, yeah. No, I understand that, Travis. You're like, look how bad this is, right? Looks so bad. Okay, he thinks it's bad. Yeah, he was right about Mind's Eye, and many games before it. He saved me on Skull and Bones. He saved me on Mind's Eye. He saved me. What other games? There was a lot of games I saved you money on. Alter says, if Mike likes it, I will get it. If he doesn't like it, I'll get it anyway because it's my money. Yeah, but the reason I'm not getting Borderlands 4, Travis, is not because of Borderlands 4. It's because of this shitty company of Gearbox. So, there's a difference. There's a massive difference. The difference is, when I say I don't support something, okay, I don't support it. To be fair, 30's track record on games isn't best either. Give me a game that I didn't say was shit that I liked, that I played anyway, right? I said Marvel Avengers is a bad game, but I like it, right? I've said games that are bad, Krebsy, that I play are not good games, but I play them. Give me one example where I love the game, but I'll go against anybody that says, well, this is a fantastic game. El Dante says Destiny. I love Destiny 1. Destiny 1 was a good game. Destiny 2 was shit. Altern says we got him. I said Gotham Knights. I like Gotham Knights, but I didn't say Gotham Knights was a great game. Right? Outlaws, I paid $18 for it for 1 month, and I said, this is bad. Didn't buy it. Gotham Knights was good, not great. Everyone gave Gotham Knights shit because of 30 frames per second. Meanwhile, they played other games with 30 frames per second. We all regret Suicide Squad. I didn't buy Suicide Squad. And the single-player campaign was fine. It was everything else. Travis says Roadcraft, maybe. Nope, I love Roadcraft. Starfield, didn't buy it. Not only did I buy it, I didn't play it because of Game Pass. I was given Starfield from Bethesda. I remember Lono being pissed about it. He's like, wait a minute, you got a copy of it? Because they didn't give him one. About 08, that looked cool. Again, didn't purchase it. I have Game Pass. Now, shitty games that I purchased that I like. Are you ready? Storage Container. The TCG card game thing. What else did we purchase? There was like one more shitty game that we purchased on PC. Robert Jones says, I got Suicides for free and I kind of regret it. Well, if that's the case, the game that's casual, all the game that you play are on Game Pass. That's not true either. Krebs says, I can play Mind's Eye, call it shit, and when playing it, but I'm still playing it. Travis is just dumb and say bad games are good. Eclipse says, nothing wrong with Avowed. It's just should have not been full price. 100%. They charged $80 for that thing, right? Or was it 70? Oh, it was 70. It was 70 because 80 didn't exist then. Way back in February. God, though, if it comes to PlayStation 5, I know that the quality of life change it needs. Mike, want to guess? For what? Oh, make the goddess talk faster. Yeah, she was fucking... It was brutal. Every time she talked, I was like... I was falling asleep. There's not one game that I've defended. They were like, oh, this game is fantastic. Starfield, I said I liked. The side stories were much better than the main story. The main story is a piece of shit, right? Worst part about that game is that you're going back like this to try to get your powers and whatnot, okay? Starfield's not a terrible game, though. Right? Indiana Jones, fantastic. Oh, I like it a lot. I have like 6 hours in it, El Dente. I have like 6 hours. I want to play it probably tonight on stream, if anybody wants to play. Oh, there's some idiots that play that game, man. There's some idiots that play Rematch. They don't understand. One, they don't understand soccer. Okay? So they don't understand, like, when you pull out a goal, like, they come towards you, and it's like, no, go the fuck on the other side, man. We're 3v3. I play with Mr. Luke a little bit. Yeah, it's a really, really fun game, right? Now, it's a $30 game, right? And it also has microtransactions. Now, I haven't really dived too far into the microtransactions, but they seem pretty pricey. Don't understand soccer or how to pass. You know, me and my son were playing, right? So obviously there's like a third person that's on our team. We're playing 3v3. Guy's the goalie. He's the goalie now. We're the strikers. Okay? He gets the ball and starts coming out. So me and my son are on comms, and I'm like, oh, watch out, superstar. And the guy will just run down the field, run down the field, run down the field, and then lose the ball. And I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Pass the ball. Pass the ball. Pass the ball. Then he passes me the ball. Soon as he passes the ball to me, he's like, back to me. I'm like, calm down. You gotta pull the guys over to you. It's so ridiculous. Yeah, you could buy stuff in the in-game currency. Yeah, it's also an early preview, right? So it's in early access or preview, whatever the hell it is. But they're charging $30, and they're going to be fixing it over time. There's no crossplay. There's no crossplay yet. That's exactly right. Everyone thinks they're Ronaldo. That's exactly right. I'm like, I kept saying, like, oh, look at this guy. He's Pele. He's going down. He thinks he's Pele. It's so frustrating. I have about 50. I think it's like 50 matches, and I think I have, or I'm 50. I'm like split. I think I have 64 matches, and I'm 32 wins. I think something like that. I'll be honest with you, Altern. It needs to get crossplay for itself, but I don't want to play crossplay with people. I like mouse and keyboard. No way. No way. Oh, then it's funny, right? There's two people fighting. Okay, there's two people fighting. So like this kicker kicks the ball across the thing, then he kicks it back, and then this kicker, and like there's four of us just standing in the middle, like what's happening right now? Then you have people that kick into their own goal. Then you have people that don't want to be goalies, so they just run out of the goal. You gotta love it. Everyone gets a turn being a goalie, but nobody wants to be a goalie. I have 5 hours. I think I have 5 hours, not 6 hours. I have 5 hours in the game, and more than half is goalie. Yeah, no, it's a fun game. It's definitely got an appeal to it. I even like the way they set up because you're like in a box, right? And the arena changes, so like you could be in like a jungle or you can be underwater when you start unlocking stuff. That's pretty cool. See, I'm good. I'm good at offense, but nobody wants to be goalie, so I have to go back and be a goalie. I think more people paid for fighting in Blades of Steel than the games. Did more people played the fighting in Blades of Steel? I don't know if they played more fighting in Blades of Steel. I mean, it was a lot. Same with NHL hockey and stuff like that. You can have a full-out brawl. I like how you say that. It's like Rocket League, but with people. I wish there was a sport like that. Yeah. Well, I always thought it was funny because like they just made soccer into cars, and now they're like, let's take the cars and make them soccer players again. It's like, well, that's ingenious. I remember when they first came out with Rocket League, I was like, why don't they just put soccer like this? It's like NFL Blitz, but with soccer. No, there's no penalties, Travis. There's no penalties in the game. There's no penalties. I haven't played 4v4 or 5v5. I would assume it's either slow pace or just more chaotic. I like the 3v3. Did you hear about the H3 lawsuit? I did. Where the people said that they like watching his content for free and that it's boring content and blah, blah, blah. And he basically baited them. Well, did you hear about people are hacking inside FIFA now, El Dente? There's people that are hacking the game to stop the people that they're playing against where they can't control their characters, and the only way to fix it is swapping out your entire team. Okay, and once you do that, then you can move freely. Clip says, as Slow Clap is happy with the performance of this game, I doubt they thought this was going to be this good. Well, look at this, right? So this is actually pretty damn good for a, right? 91,000 as of right now. It's a good game. It really is. I take it back. I'm against all sports games again. Yeah, there's people cheating in FIFA. Yeah, they can hack in and stop your players, and the only way to and then there's another one they do where it makes your players slower. I think they can make them freeze, and they can make them slower, and they can add different. It's like, how shitty of a person do you have to be? I've never been in a more than like 10-second wait to get in the game on console. I'm playing on console. And there is a big gap between people that don't know what they're doing and the people that understand what they're doing. Okay? So the people that have the moves, okay, like it's easy to play, hard to master. So like Rocket League. Rocket League is that, yeah, you can hit the ball around and drive around and hit the ball and score. But the people that are flying through the air, doing the ricochets and bounces and stuff like that, that's the next tier. That's what Rematch is. Rematch is, you'll see people ball playing and trying to, juke people and stuff like that and be really good at ball handling. And then there's other people that just have no idea what they're doing. And then when they pass, they're passing behind you. They're not passing at you. They're not even passing. They're kicking the ball. There's so many little things that people are not doing in that game. And again, it just came out, so it'll take some time. But what's going to happen is that lots of people are going to play it, but they're going to drop off real fast because these people that know how to play are going to exponentially get better, and it's just going to make this gap even bigger and bigger. You can't flop. You can't flop. There's no penalties in the game. Yeah, 91,000 on PC alone. It's doing really well. It's doing really well. All right. I think that is going to do it because we're at the 1 o'clock mark. I appreciate it very much. We'll be back tonight. We'll be playing some video games. I'm not sure what we're going to be playing. I got my Ornithopter in Dune Awakening over on Friday. So now I got to do the next step, trying to get certain gear and build up my house better. So that's what we're doing in Dune Awakening. I don't know if I'm going to play that tonight. We're going to play probably Rematch tonight if anybody wants to play. We start at 8 o'clock p.m. I'll let you guys know. Make sure you're in the Discord. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. I appreciate it very much, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for hanging. Peace.
Sunshine, rise and shine. The daily grind is here on time with gaming news and fun galore. We'll chat and entertain once more. The coffee's hot, the mic is on. Jump in the chat, let's have some fun. From pixel small to stories grand, we bring the magic to your hand. We're nitty tuning daily, don't you miss entertainment wrapped in bliss. From new releases, tips and tricks, the daily grind, your morning fix. To race. We cover gaming all the ways. One race, controller ready, headset too. We've got the updates just for you. From late night streams to morning plays, we cover gaming all the ways. Laughs and news on winning blend, the show with you, our dearest friend. Comments rolling, chats arrive, the daily grind, 5-star vibe. Tune in daily, don't you miss entertainment wrapped in bliss. From new releases, tips and tricks, the daily grind, your morning fix. Good morning, sunshine, rise and shine. The daily grind is here on time with gaming news and fun below. We'll chat and entertain once more. The coffee's hot, the mic is on. Jump in the chat, let's have some fun. From pixel small to stories grand, we bring the magic to your hand. Tune in daily, don't you miss entertainment wrapped in bliss. From new releases, tips and tricks, the daily grind, your morning fix. Come on in, your morning